go live.
You need to close one because I hear like two Pauls talking.
Yeah, you have a second window open, I believe, on your computer. Hey, are we live? Are we having issues? So we must be live. I don't know. You you still hear two of me? It's all
I
right.
think so. Hold
That's
on.
yeah, it's fine. I only hear one of you, so it can't be that bad. Um, you know,
Okay.
because I think what happened,
I'll
like
fix it
you,
in a minute.
yeah, you might be having like YouTube running somewhere. But hey,
Two
you
Windowses.
guys, yeah, two Windows, YouTubes. I've done that when I had Dennis Ivy. He's a pretty big sized YouTuber. And I had that issue on my end. So it's like triple, double mirror effect with audio. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh God, I finally get this big streamer on YouTuber, Dennis Ivy, the man, and I mess up the stream. So it happens. But he was cool about it. So hey everybody, if you guys are here saying hello, we got Sharon here, Horace here, Jose here. Let us know how the audio is going. Hopefully it's not too crazy. It's working. Can you see two people? So if you never met Alex before, we have Alex joining us. It's 4 a.m. for him. So thank you for waking up or not sleeping, one or the other, to have you here. And I invited Alex because first of all, he's a cool dude. Like I like him, and also like great
Thank
conversations. He
you.
was with us with John Smilga when we were doing the podcast there, and it will come back for sure. But I wanted to talk to him because guess what? He's another self-taught developer who ended up being able to make the transition and get a job and get hired. And so in today's live stream, what I wanted to do is talk about basically getting hired and then staying hired. I guess staying hired is very important. And I know I see Jose's comment. He says there's some buffering issues. So yeah, probably give it a moment. I think YouTube is like, Paul's stream is a little slow, so let's buffer a bit. Let's give him some time, and it might smooth out the playback. But yeah, I apologize for that. I'm doing my best. I'm streaming at 720, which is already pretty bad. But it's just like where my family lives. It's like in the wooded areas, and I'm still visiting, so I can't, beggars or choosers. So Alex, welcome, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I can't decide where to look, like in on the YouTube side or on the window that I have open with you. I keep looking around, like where should I look? Where should I look? I'm
Wherever it
gonna stick to
makes
YouTube to see
sense.
the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's good. So how you doing? Like, what's going on with you? What you been up to?
I, I'm good. I've been working, basically only working. That's my life now. I wake up and I take my kid to kindergarten, and then I work, and just go and take him back, and basically that's the day.
Nice. That's very very exciting.
Pretty
Um,
much.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I have a wonderful, exciting life, right?
yeah. That the joys of being a developer when you're switching careers, you just gotta hustle, hustle. And not like when I say hustle, I'm not saying like who's that guy who is responsible for that hustle. What the hell? Oh my God! I read a bunch of his books. Um, he's very popular on social media. Gary
Joe Rogan.
Nunchucks, whatever.
Uh,
No, Gary
oh,
Vaynerchuk's Nunchuck, Gary, whatever. So he's all about
did you
hustle,
say
hustle, hustle.
nunchucks?
Nunchucks, yeah, very Gary Vaynerchuk's. But anyway, Nunchucks. He's
Yeah,
an
yeah. I know
awesome
him. I know
guy,
him. Yeah.
very very good. It says a lot of stuff, but like I don't. I think like you definitely have to find like a good life balance, but at the same time, like he says hustle for the first 20, 30 years and don't expect to get anywhere, I guess. But what I'm saying is that you have to
Yeah.
understand if you're starting later in life, it's just the reality of the situation. It's not that you should hustle more, it's just that you're trying to play catch up. You're trying to break into a new field where if you're like I started in my late 30s, and so I'm competing with all the 20-year-olds. And so like I had to take as much of my time as I can to do the best that I can to kind of keep working at standing out. And has that been the case for you, even though you're not as old as I am? Like that's why I shaved so we could kind of look the same age.
That's why I don't shave, so I can kind
Exactly,
of look
because
the
if you
same age.
shave,
I'm joking.
they'll be like, man, he's like 18 years old. 18
Like
years old.
15, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 15, baby face. Yeah, Gary V. That's who we were talking about, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, what you just said reminds me at like the time when I was applying. When I was applying to jobs, on LinkedIn they show you like how many people apply to the job, and they're like
Yeah.
always like 60, 70, 80 people. It's like, whoa, like they're never gonna call me. Like why should they call me? And to some point that could be discouraging. But I was applying anyways, like, no, I'm gonna apply until someone gets me. But yeah, the fight is tough, to say the least, because there's a lot of new self-taught people. I mean, there's a lot of newcomers. Maybe some of them are self-taught, maybe they do boot camps, maybe they're just computer science you know graduates. They are trying to get into the field, so the competition is huge. So that's why it takes a lot of commitment, because some of them might not apply to a job that you apply to, and then you have like a little bit of an edge. So that's where commitment comes in. You have to be really really committed to get through the door, I guess. Maybe not even to get through the door, just to get a first interview, which might not get you a job, because your first interview probably mostly will not get you hired.
Yeah, that's
Trust me,
okay.
I know.
But you got to go through the process. Your first job is the hardest one to get. And by the way, Cody's saying we have some questions. I don't think I only saw this question. But by the way, speaking of, Cody is saying like take a look at the chat. By the way, yes, this is going to be a stream that involves you guys. So at any time, ask questions. I'm not gonna wait. We're gonna make sure that because we want to hang out with you guys. We want to chat with you guys. I didn't invite Alex for me just to talk to
Yeah,
him. Alex didn't come just to talk to me because we could talk to each other privately. But we came here to share our
yeah,
experience and also answer questions that you guys may have to help you guys out. So we're starting right at the beginning. Is kind of getting your first job, getting that interview. And Alex just pointed out, look, the reality of the situation is that when you are going for your first job, be prepared for bajillion rejections. It's just the way it goes. And guess what? It's totally okay because you only need to get that like first yes. And before we bring it back to Alex, I just want to tell you a little story. There's a guy who follows us. I didn't ask him if I could share that he got hired yet, so I'm not going to use his name. Because maybe he wants to keep this private, but he just got a job hired working as a developer. And one thing he said to me, he's like, like I almost stopped trying. I almost stopped looking for the job and going to interviews because they were so discouraging. And he's like, the fact that I was part of your community just kept me excited just enough to continue to struggle through it. And he said to me, like, man, if I would have quit like 2 days ago, I would have not gotten this job today. And I was like, man, you know what? And that is true. Like
yeah,
most people, they give up right before that point, before they're making there. And so don't give up. Keep going at it. And I know Alex probably will have that similar experience. Like you say it, like, look, you just got to keep going. So your
yeah.
first job, how many interviews did you go on before getting hired?
uh
General
well, I
ballpark.
applied to at least
Yes.
200
Yeah.
jobs.
Wow. So 200.
Like literally 200. It's not I always say 200, but it's not like a rounded up number. Like I almost no, I basically counted 160 something jobs before I was still applying, so I'm sure it did over 200. But I think mostly like four companies reached out. And uh I think two or three of the interviews was really really bad. Like they one I know it one of them, they treat me really really bad. Like it lasts like 20 seconds. When the senior developer came into the office, and he was like, he looked at my CV, he saw I have no CS background. It's like, yeah, we want someone with really really strong algorithmic skills, and I'm pretty sure you don't have any. And well, he didn't say he did. He thinks I don't have any, but basically that's what he said. He didn't say it like that, but
But he made
that's what
sure
it meant.
that's how you felt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like, we have a test. Like, yeah, I know, I know. I've read on everywhere that there's tests. I was like, give me the test, give me the test. Like, nah, I don't think you can handle the test. Like, you should go home and study more.
Wow.
It's like, what? Yeah, it's like, okay, I really don't want to work here anyways. If this douchebag is
The
gonna
type
be
of
my
attitude.
boss,
Yeah.
then it's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to work here. So that was I think that was my first experience, like my first interview, and it was like, is this gonna be the life? This is how everyone is? But I kept going, kept applying, and there was this really really nice guy that reached reached out on LinkedIn. He's like, hey, you applied to the to our company. Give me your GitHub. Give me everything you have. I gave him my GitHub, and he said, look, I can see that you're up and coming, like you're learning. And he says he was really really inspiring. He said, you're on the right path. We need someone with more experience because we have some projects that really really need like someone who can handle them. But if you need anything, like anything you want to ask, he also gave me some materials, like from his personal not journeys, because he was like 20 years in the game, but he had like the for his employers, he had like
Yeah.
modules and stuff, and he shared them with me, and
That's
he was
awesome.
really really nice. And he said, anytime yeah, he said, anytime you have a question, like reach out, no problem. It's like, wow, like, okay, this is how everyone should be, and probably this is how everyone is in this industry. Like the first guy was a douche, but there's bad branches in every forest. I don't know how the how
Exactly.
the saying
Exactly.
is, but
No, exactly. That was really
yeah,
well
yeah.
said.
Yeah, so those were like some of my first experience. And I also got a phone call from a lady. It's like, hey, you applied to a job. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, we called you to say that we're not gonna invite you to an interview.
Oh
It's
my
like, why did
gosh.
you call me if you're not gonna invite me? Yeah, it was like I had
Listen.
mixed feelings. Like initially I thought, yeah.
So here, let me back up. So you applied to 200 jobs. You got 4 people
Yeah,
reached out to you, and out of those 4, you got a job, or was there more?
yeah, yeah.
So you got hired. So to
No, no,
me,
that was it. Like,
and then you got hired, right? Like after your fourth, whatever, the last interview.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So here's the
yeah,
thing that I'm
exactly.
gonna
Yeah,
say. Like, okay, worst case scenario. I mean, probably not the worst case scenario, but you could be in the same situation as Alex. You apply to 200 jobs. Out of 200 jobs, you get 4 interviews, which is like 2%, like callback, whatever. And then out of those, you get, one job. And so now he's working. He started his journey. So if he had 400, resumes and he sent out, he probably would have gotten 8 interviews and probably 2 offers. So I know people like looking at me, Paul, like, you're crazy. Those are like pretty terrible numbers. They're not zero. The fact that
yeah,
he now has a formula, and based on
yeah.
knowing that, he could tweak things and be like, this is what I should have done a little bit better. And that could increase his chances of getting callbacks or getting hired. But he didn't even have to wait that long because he still got hired. So in the worst case scenario where you're getting a lot of no's, you get like 200 no's, you get 4 like, okay, we'll take a look at you, and then you get 1 yes. And I think
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good
yeah.
because now, like, you're working, as a software engineer. And are you still on your first job, or did you move on to your second job already?
No, no, I moved on to my second job. The first
See,
company
nice.
wasn't a tech company.
Yeah,
And now the second company is a really really nice tech company, and things are different now. Like, I'm a really really real developer, so to say. I was a developer then, but
you were a
the projects
developer
are different
still.
now.
Yeah,
And
it's
now I'm a
okay.
junior. Yeah, yeah,
No, no, I
exactly. I
get it.
was a
You got
developer
the
even before
job.
I
You
started
got the
working.
job. You got the job. So on.
Uh,
But anyway, let's take a question because I want to make sure that we don't put questions to the back because I want to encourage you guys to chat with us. So Alex, he said, if you're in college, should I finish my degree or should I just pursue finding a job? I might not be getting financial aid anymore. I'm going into junior year. I know how to code. What would I do? It's a tough question, at least for me to answer, because I can't tell you what to do because everybody has their own opinion. So what I would have done is I would have probably continued to pursue my degree. Like, I'm assuming your degree school part-time and look for a job at the same time. And then if I could do both, I would do both. Especially if you want to break into the market. If you know how to code and you have some portfolios that you feel make you confident enough to get hired, I would definitely try. And if you don't get hired, you could continue going to school part time, and then if you had to next semester switch to full time, and that way you're kind of covering both bases. What I would say, what's awesome, there's a lot of employers. I don't know where you live, but I know a lot of them, not for all of your tuition, but they do part of your course. If you're still in the university or in college, they'll give you some sort of stipend to help you with your tuition if you're working for a company, especially if there are more bigger companies. That's what I would do. Alex, what do you think you would do?
I would definitely do both, and I would focus more on the computer science degree. Like
Mm.
the degree will take you places, even though you will take you places if you work hard. You
I
eventually
like
end up where you need to be. But
I like that. I like
go
that.
ahead.
Like no, you finished, but I like what you just said. And after you're done, I'm gonna give you my 2 cents about what I think about what you just said. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. You can get like a part-time job, or even a full-time job at a company that doesn't require you to be like 300% dedicated, and that will also help with your experience and applying to like more relevant, not yeah, basically relevant jobs at tech companies. But the computer science degree is definitely, if it's computer science, because I didn't really understand if it's computer science or not, but a degree is definitely important, and you should not skip it. Like, get it if you started, you know go to college, get your degree, get a part-time job, or a full-time job at a company that's not it's not like a tech company that requires you to dedicate yourself like 600%. Even you can find work on Upwork, like freelancing projects, and you work on your spare time, when you have time on the weekends. They don't really
While still
have
going to
like
school,
that
yeah.
commitment. Yeah, so definitely get the degree.
Yeah, and the thing that I would say, a lot of people like, oh, Paul, you're self-taught. That means like degree's not necessary. By the way, the reason I did not get a degree, you have to understand, when I got into coding, like I was in my late 30s. And I literally said to myself, I'm going to try to go the self taught route because I just need to break into the industry. I can't wait 4 years to get a job. Like I'm 40, I'm turning 42 now, just to put things in perspective. And so the idea that I'm saying, if, and also in my age, I don't want to take on more debt. It'll probably be in US, it'll probably $80,000 at least for 4 years of school. Like if so it is expensive. But if you're younger, like if I was younger, I would 100% get a CS degree. Knowing how much like I like programming, like I would, out of just the passion for computer science and being exposed to all those different things that you learn as part of your degree, I would definitely do it. So don't let, just the fact that I'm self-taught, he's self-taught, doesn't mean that we don't hold a computer science degree in high regard. And like Alex said, it definitely will take you
Yeah,
places. If And this is what I talked about in my last video, why you should be able to market yourself. Because when you have a degree and someone doesn't, that person has a qualifying piece of paper that says this guy knows something. But if you're like you know, some dude like me when I started on YouTube at the beginning, not having a job, how am I gonna show my value to an employee, potential employer? Like I don't have a degree, so what do I have to do? I have to be involved in the community. I have to be vocal about what I'm doing. I have to build lots of good projects to showcase that I have the
true.
same experience in coding as someone who came from a college. And that's why I tell you guys, getting hired, like your first job is the hardest thing to do. And look, I felt like quitting. Alex felt like quitting, but we knew we just have to keep going and keep trying. And the only way we would have failed if we just stopped looking. If we stopped looking, we stopped
Exactly.
trying. And so I'll give you a little story and like about me. Not to pat myself on the back, because to be honest with you, I had no idea this was going to happen. I can't predict the future, but I had this belief. Like I'm like, look, I'm going to give my all learning to code, and then I'm going to keep record of my progress on my YouTube channel. And so you can go back to my old videos where I talk about like stuff like I wasn't working as a developer back then, like 4 or 5 years ago, right? I started literally someone who was no job, no experience, and here I am today. I recently just got hired, one of my dream jobs, and I'm like so happy for it. And it was a lot of hard work.
Congratulations. By the way, congratulations.
Yeah. I wonder if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah. You
could
should tell yourself. Yeah,
guess
yeah,
what logo that is. I don't know. I don't know what logo that is. But the point that I'm saying is that
yeah, yeah.
it takes a lot of hard work, definitely luck, but a lot of it, if it's meant to be, it's up to you guys to uh, make that happen. And like Alex was alluding, like he really just focuses on his basically building the skills that are required not only to get into the door but also maintaining and growing his skills to continue
Staying
working. And
in.
with yeah, and with that being said, like so you apply to 200 jobs, you had 4 interviews, you got 1 job, and you said your first job wasn't like fully technical, or you would say a real coding job. Can you tell us like about like what you did? And because I feel like a lot of people want to get the job. They want to like get like, oh, I'm like 100% best developer, but you started somewhere where it's not a full technical role. When I got my first job, guess what I did? I did editing like WordPress websites where there was not that much HTML or
Yeah.
CSS. And eventually I did more and more and more. So it's okay not to look for jobs where you're right away jumping to the code, because it still builds experience. So tell us about your first job, what you did, and how that helped you to get your second role where you're like, oh, now I'm the real deal, you know? So go ahead, tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, your first job should be whatever you can get, especially if you're self-taught. If you
Yeah,
work somewhere and you
yes,
have
yes,
experience
yes.
growing on your LinkedIn, then you're in the right place. It doesn't matter if it's called, Dunky's Donuts or whatever. I don't know. If they have you working in some way on a website, then you're in the right place, and you should stay there for at least 8 months to a year. And my first job, they were really nice. The people there were really really nice. They had me also working on WordPress, websites, which I've never done before. But they also had a coding part, so they were like the job was divided into two parts to say, so to say. And one was coding, one was WordPress. But the WordPress one was, it was I was doing more WordPress basically. And I stayed there for like 8 months. By the way, after you get your first job, you won't need to apply to like 200-300 jobs to get your second
Why
job.
is that? Why
Basically,
is that? Tell us
recruiters will
that.
come in
Yes. They
because
bl-
they
they
look for experience.
blow
They
up my
all
LinkedIn.
they look for experience.
Like I'm gonna tell
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
my
yeah. Now,
secret. I Yeah, now it's like, but let me tell you my secret that I learned from a recruiter. When they go on your LinkedIn, guess where they look first? To see if you are already employed. And if
experience.
you're already employed, they're going to be like,
Exactly.
oh, let's reach out to this guy. And so that's true. Like your second, third job is definitely a lot easier to do. So I think Alex is going to win like some sort of, like, I don't have any prizes, Alex, but you're asking some really good questions. So let's go. And Alexander has another great uh, questions. By the way, he also says congratulations. Brian says that they finally
Thank
give
you.
me a laptop with a water bottle. Yes, they did. Because my first and second job,
How does
my
it
first and
feel? How
second
does
job,
it
they
feel?
gave me
By the way,
nothing.
how
My
does it feel?
first, second job gave me nothing. Well, now I have too many laptops. I mean, like to me, it's 2 laptops is already too many. But Alexander says you said you applied to 200 uh, times. Don't give up. How do you know the difference between needing a better foundation as a dev, HTML, CSS, React, whatever it is, and just being more determined to get a job? So what I would say before, like I give Alex a chance to answer, what I learned eventually, I didn't do this right away, but every time I go to the interview, and it's interesting because this is a question I actually got at the interview. Like, but when you go to an interview, whenever it doesn't go well, and obviously they don't owe you anything, but be like, hey, I just had a question before I go. Or, when you do a follow-up email, be like, why did you decide to go with a different candidate instead of choosing me? Was it something about, then you say, my projects, my coding, or whatever? And that way you get feedback where they tell you like, hey, this is what you have to improve and this is what you have to do. And I think that's a great follow-up question. And weirdly, at my current job, thank God that I got, thank you, Lord, or whoever's up there for helping me out. But literally one of the interviews, they came up to me and they're like, "What would you do right now if we told you that we didn't hire you? We said that we decided to go a different path and whatever." And I literally said the exactly same thing, and apparently it was like the right answer. I said like, "Listen, I hope that's not the case, but before I go, I just would like to know what was the reason why you decided to go the other path. Because in my opinion, anytime you're getting feedback, you instead of guessing what you need to fix, like in your question, you're asking a lot of things like, is it determination? Is it my projects? Is it whatever it is, the blank thing could be, is that if you ask it and you get that feedback from your interviewer, now you know for a fact what you have to work on. So for instance, imagine I go to a bunch of interviews and like, no, you're not hired. I'm like, okay. No, you didn't get the job. I'm like, okay. Now in my head, I have to guess, why did they not hire me? It could be something silly like, oh, you dressed like, you know, I don't know, like who, like whatever it was,
You
something
dress
stupid.
bad.
You just don't know, right? You don't know. You didn't shave your like chest, I guess, or whatever it is. But the point, what I'm saying is that you don't know, and one of the things that you have to know when you go to interviews is you can't, like, you need to get feedback. And again, they don't owe you the feedback, but you have to ask. You have to find the reason why, and like, because it's the best way for you to fix the things that you need to fix. Like for instance, I don't know why I suck at dating. I don't even know why I use dating advice. But like, if a girl said to you, like if you go to a girl, would you go out with me? She's like, maybe. That's so ambiguous. It's gonna make you feel so like, I don't know, like, does she like me? Does she not like me? But if she
Yeah,
says
but maybe
no,
basic,
maybe basically means maybe
maybe it's a
never.
yes. Always is yes. No, maybe it's yes. Never
Listen,
means no. Like
listen,
hell no.
you're
Maybe
embarrassing me
girls never
about my
say
dating
yes.
game. Dating game. Are
Girls
you
never
sure?
say.
Jesus Christ.
Girls
Oh
never
my
say
God,
yes.
42 years
They
old.
always say
And that I
maybe.
thought was that easy. Anyway, the point that we're making is that you need to get feedback. Look, shame, shame, shame. Okay, I'm going to put my glasses on to because I'm going to cry right now. Um, what I'm saying is that you need to feedback. And I know we're joking around a lot, and I'll bring it back to Alex. But Alexander, that's a great question. What I would say, definitely get feedback so you know exactly what dial you need to tweak in your kind of like what you're doing. Because sometimes, listen, like, I'll tell you this, like, I didn't get any interviews for the longest time. And I was like, oh my God, is it because my projects suck? Is it because, you know what sucked? The format of my resume. My resume just looked trash, even though I had the same information. And weirdly, after I tweaked my resume, I started getting more interviews. And that's what I'm saying. You can't guess. You want to try to figure out what exactly is stopping you from getting hired. But that was a great question, Alexander. Keep him coming. And back to you, Alex, in terms of your advice on interviewing, or how do you know if you're good enough to get hired? And is it even up to you to decide, or would you just say, uh,
No, it's
just
not.
keep
You
going,
you never
keep going,
know. You never
keep
know.
going? Right. You never know.
Basically, when you could make like a landing page, you should start applying. I would now,
Yeah.
because now if I look when I look I kept my portfolio project, somewhere, in a dungeon on GitHub. It's there. But I look at it from time to time just to see, like, from where I started and where I am now. Because if I look at now, I'm gonna cry, like, wow, like, how did I apply with this? No, but then when I was building it, like, this is the best portfolio project I can make, and
Yeah.
it was good enough for me to start applying. Now, if I look at it, like, I should have never applied with that, but it got
But
me hired.
but you're
And
glad that you did, right? You're
going
glad
back to,
that you kept applying,
yeah,
even though
of course,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because you never know. You never know. It's same. It's same. I just have to laugh at this comment first because please let's not do that. Where is it? Dating
Yeah, I
after
saw.
30.
Yeah, that's
Um, Listen, I've been divorced after 30.
so.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Like, I'm lucky now. I have the one. I met someone really nice, meaning that she hasn't ran away yet, so that's fine. But yeah, definitely. Sharon says maybe means keep trying, and I'm sure she's referring to getting those interviews 100%, because a lot
Dating.
of times what you think like is the issue might not even be the issue. And like, I literally did not believe I was going to get the job that I got, and I just kept going from one interview to the next interview to the next interview until I got to the final interview, and they're like, you're hired. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome, dude. High standards right here. Spirwell, it says minimum requirement for date with me. She has to use Linux.
Yeah,
Damn, listen. You got some high standards, bro. I appreciate it. But yeah, so Frederick says make few basic websites, and so Zai says I'm in the midst of learning JS. Should my first few projects included? Definitely start. This is
yeah, I
what I would
saw
say.
that. But how would you build your first projects if you're learning JS and you wouldn't use JS? Like you mean like if only be HTML and CSS? Like I don't really understand the question.
So what I would
If you
say,
can
like,
use it in your website, definitely use
yeah,
it.
use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would say is that
If you can, then yes.
what I would say first should be okay, take visual design and convert it to HTML and CSS. Once you get some JavaScript chops under your belt, add some behavior to that website with JavaScript, and bam, now you have your first HTML, CSS, JavaScript for your project. And what I recommend is I recommend first build an HTML, CSS, JavaScript site, and then I recommend learning React. You could learn whatever you want, but React happens, in my case, be the easiest way to get your foot in the door. So first project should be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Second project, in my opinion, should be you showing basic use of React and how to connect to a basic API where you're just getting basic data and you're able to display it on the page. And your third project should be something where you're maybe not creating the backend yourself, but you are using an API where you're able to showcase that you understand what authentication is and you understand like full CRUD functionality, create, read, update, and delete, and then like using REST API. And in my case, like sense, that is the bare minimum you kind of need to showcase. Based on all the jobs that I had, you need to have some basic understanding uh, in those aspects of it. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. CRUD will definitely take you places. I wasn't really that big on CRUD when I got my first job because I wasn't really I didn't know about Strapi first of all, and I
Lol.
didn't know how to build the backend. I was in the midst of doing it. I was in the process because I know like I knew about them. Like if they had me explain it, I could explain it. But if like okay, let's code something, I would probably get stuck. But if I would Google or something, I would have
Yeah.
figured it out. But it's definitely important. And now I know them like the back of my hand, and I could explain and whatever use them in any way. I still go back to GitHub, just to see syntax and stuff. But because people, I've read some comments somewhere like, oh, should you Google for answers, or
Yes.
should know everything from your mind?
Google.
Yes, you should Google for answers, and keep stuff on your GitHub, and
Yep.
keep
As
a
notes. Yeah.
notebook if you
Yeah.
have to.
So here's the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
At my
Whatever can
job,
help you help.
right now, they say if you have a question, don't ask it until you searched all the documentation for the answer. And I was like, that's a brilliant answer because it basically says that, look, part of being a software engineer is your ability being able to look stuff up. Because this reminds me of a funny story. Sharon Good Enough says, no, I meant the girl. Yeah, and funny story here. So my current fiance now, right? We go on our first date and we go have like breakfast, whatever, coffee, and then I'm dropping her back at her house, and I go like this to reach in to like I go to reach in like this, and then she kind of like reaches towards me, and I'm so oblivious, not realizing that she's going to kiss me, and I'm like opening the door for her. So I open the door, and when I open the door, she literally looks at me like literally she had that look. Are you really this
Yeah.
stupid? Are you really this stupid? And then so I had to go back, close the door, and then kiss her. Then I realized, and then like literally she had to ask me out because I'm so oblivious to these things, which I thought was kind of funny. And if she literally didn't say something, I probably would have been like, oh, I guess she doesn't like me, which is funny because you know just like the advice Alex said about going to your coding interviews is just going for it. I should have just went for it. So here I am giving good
Yeah.
advice on doing coding interviews, but when it comes to dating, don't listen to me. I don't know anything. So here we go. We have people saying,
you, you,
"Hey,
you're a true
JR Bugs,
gentleman.
great to see
You're
you."
a true
JR,
gentleman.
I was kicking her out. I was like, "Okay, I'll see you later." Just kidding. JR Bugs here saying, "Greetings, everybody. Greetings to you." Zai says, thank you. And Sharon says,
Sharon
hey,
has the question.
yep. She says, I have a question. way up there. I don't know if you saw it, asking if you have advice for older women
Yeah, I
looking
saw
for a
it. I
full
saw it.
stack job. Um, so everybody's in different places in their life. And so, what I would say as an advice is that focus on the things that you have to do to get to where you're going and not listen to people's opinions. Because when I first started, and I wasn't like I'm older now, but when I first started, I was in my mid 30s, and some of the advice I got, not only was it like rude and terrible and unprofessional, basically saying like if you're not in your 20s then you might as well jump off a bridge. That's what somebody told me, which I thought was so counterproductive, because the point
Ooh.
is, if you have the desire to do it, you can do it. So don't focus on like what people's opinions are. Just know what you need to learn. And I saw you saying you were going to get a full stack job. In my opinion, I think going full stack right away is difficult, but if you have the mind for it, if you're learning the stuff, you're able to build the projects, definitely go for it. For me, I ended up going the front end way first, and then eventually transition, and still in transition to full stack role. What advice would you have, Alex, or tips?
Well, if she can build full stack websites like really good, then you should apply. I don't remember seeing junior full stack roles, but the market nowadays is really oversaturated. So there's a lot of jobs and really less developers. So if you can build a full stack website, like a really good full stack website, you should go for it. And
So
age is just a number. It's where this
listen,
channel is
listen,
called coding after 30, so you're in the right
listen.
place with us.
No, no, no,
I
no.
started
Listen,
learning,
listen. Let me
I
tell
started
you.
coding at in
Let me
my
first
30s.
tell you, age is not just a number, brother. Let me tell you, when your phone vibrates and then you reach into your pocket and you realize your phone is not anywhere near you, age is not just a number. Like you're like,
That-
what was that? What the hell? What? Why am I vibrating like a phone right now? Like so. Anyway, but yeah, what I would say is if you could do the work, definitely apply. One thing I would say for someone who's older, and to understand that there's plenty of jobs
what
where,
does older mean? Like
but
what is older? What's
but
the
let me
number
let me
for
let me
older?
finish my point, Alex. All right, like all right, hold on a second. Let me finish my. What I would say is that you have to understand you have
Okay.
life experience, you have experience from previous jobs, and I wasn't aware of this until like recently, but there's plenty of jobs where you need to have technical knowledge as a programmer, where you could get a pretty decent paying job where you're not just doing coding, but you're working in some sort of phase of the product. It could be you know working more with the product managers and then talking to developers, and because you're very technical, you're able to communicate with them and make sure everybody's in line. So there's other positions outside of just coding. So what I would say is that don't just apply to just coding jobs, but apply to anything code related, because you could always transition in the current role. Like when I first started working, like I said, I was more of like a content editor with WordPress that led into more WordPress theme design that eventually led to me working as a React developer. What I would say is that keep all those options open. And then, Alex, how old are you?
32. Thank you for asking.
Right there, right
Yeah,
there,
I feel
baby,
old already.
baby,
Like,
baby.
I'm 32.
Listen,
I'm
I'm coming.
32, but
I'm gonna come,
my mind is like 80, like with
dude.
experience and
32.
everything.
I would give like an arm and a leg to be 32. You know. And here's
Why?
Alexander, great question. 32 is a good age. Like I'm 42. It's better than I
Yeah, but
think I
42 is also,
listen.
when you'll be 52, you'll give everything to be 42, and
And we
when you're
could keep
40, when you're
saying that
62,
forever,
do
forever.
anything.
You know what? Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
it's mentally
Each
on the
each
same
age
age,
has
so
its
it's fine.
beauties.
Right. I'm like a fine
Yeah,
cheese that gets, the older it gets, the more it smells, I guess.
yeah,
So
exactly.
Alexander,
I would have,
and
I
but
would
the
have went for
taste is
wine, but
still
you know,
good. The
okay, so
taste is still good. So Alexander, thank you for the super chat. By the way, you're keeping us. That's that 4.99. Will I have two cats, so I'll get them a present. It's fantastic. But thank you. No, I appreciate you, by the way, asking questions. The biggest thing that I always ask people, and CS Projects here, I haven't talked and chatted with you in forever. Good to see you. Let me quickly say hello, and then I'll catch up with the chat here. But what I was saying, yeah, guys, we're here to answer questions, not just talk about opinions. So don't forget, let me just catch up on the chat here. And by the way, if you see good questions, Alex, let me know if blah, 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 blah. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so Alexander says, when it comes time to applying, should I target specific engineering dev roles, full stack, front end, back end? Should I go for web dev over software engineer because it's easier to get? It's just the title. It doesn't mean that it's easier or not.
go
Like,
for
like
DevOps, like, go for Dev. I'm
no,
joking.
people, no, don't go for DevOps. But like web developer, software engineer, UI developer, it's like there's so many different names. Just go to every interview. What I would say is, if you're writing a resume
Go for
and
the junior ones.
go for everything,
Every
but
job that has junior in front,
some
go for that
won't,
one,
some jobs don't have
especially.
junior. Just go for anywhere, whatever. Just what I'm saying, my advice would be to you, if you want to take that extra step, whenever you have a resume, if you see that one job is working with a specific tech, make sure you on your resume outline or put that to the forefront. Put it first. And then in your resume, change your description to kind of showcase that you worked with that tech that they're hiring for, to kind of make yourself stand out. So what I would say, for every company that you apply, yes, you can in theory send the same resume, but make sure that if you have the time or you want to go that extra step, make it more directed towards the company you're applying. I would, in that sense, say when you're creating your resume, make it more targeted to like whatever that person's looking for. Like, I'll use my dating example, and this is gonna sound very creepy at this point, but if I was looking at someone's profile, someone's looking for someone, 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes. That's what I would probably put on my resume. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like saying like that's probably a terrible example. I'm not saying you should make stuff up, but I'm saying if you have the skill that matches what they're looking at for, put that in the forefront first. So if you look at my resume, like if I was applying for a C# development job, like C# ASP.NET would be on the front end of it. If I was applying more for React and JavaScript and Node-based job, I would have that on the forefront of my resume, and the C# would be all the way on the bottom from like the things that I know. So hopefully that helps with the answer. Eli says, can we get them info on how we're filtering job openings? Mine is that I filter it with just the one language I know. Next is find junior title to no specific title, experience required 1 to 5 years. Can we give them info on how we filter job openings? Mine is that I filter with, like,
So
look,
I keep
go,
trying to
go,
share a link, but it doesn't work on the chat where I
send it
built
to
my
me
first
on
TV. I don't know why
Twitter.
YouTube doesn't let.
Send it on Twitter.
Okay.
They only allow, like, how we get spammed by like the adult content stuff. Weirdly, YouTube allows you to spam
Yeah.
adult content in chat, but whenever we try to send a legitimate link and not being bombarded by bots, on our channel, it's always an issue. But yeah, I'll try to do it on my case. I
So
have it over
that's
here.
where that's where I've made my first CV, and there's a version that doesn't require you to pay it. There's a free trial. Watch out, because they'll take your money after that. So use the free trial thing, build your CV, and then get out.
So this is
Don't
the
pay for
website.
nothing.
So this is for 1 second. Let me actually, I could quickly share my screen here.
CV templates.
So
It's really
basically,
really nice.
yeah, so you could go there, check it out, use it for reference. Again, I actually bought my template for my resume too. You don't have to, but definitely a good place to start. And let me show you my, since you guys are already asking questions.
I didn't pay for anything. It's not bad to pay. I'm not saying don't pay, but if you choose not to pay, then there's a way for you not to pay. I don't like sharing stuff that requires pay, so that's why I'm definitely trying to make sure that you can not pay.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So once you got your first job, because if you keep like, and I'll while you tell us and answer my question, I'll also look through the list, see if we cut up or not. But my original question, we probably forgot what it was. I asked, how was your first role? How has it helped you to prepare to move on in terms of getting the experience and getting that second role as a developer?
Well, it helped me in the first sense that I had experience now. Like people, the recruiters, would look at me different and still look at me different now because now I have more experience. But once you get hired, the situation is different. Like for my second job, I went to 4 interviews. Hey, that's a round number. I went to 4 interviews again. Now I just realized that. But I only applied to one job. Like the other 3 interviews, I've been invited to be part of. Like I didn't apply for them. I didn't reach out to them. I wasn't even thinking of switching careers at that point. They just people started inviting me like, hey, we're from this company. We have this React job. Maybe you should come interview for us. And I applied. I accepted 3, and then I just said, okay, I found the company that I read about. It was really, like really really cool, and really I thought that had really good projects, and it was a tech company. And I've read about them and say, okay, I'm gonna apply to these ones as well, because if I'm starting to go to interviews, then okay, I'm deciding to change my job. I'm not just gonna go to get some interview experience. Like I have these 3 lined up. I applied to a few more just to have better chances, because you never know. Having like 5 interviews doesn't mean you're gonna get a job. It might mean that you just have 5 interviews and you'll not get a position. So I started applying to I applied to one more. So I actually got the one that I applied for. The other 3 ones rejected me. But uh, one of the 3 was really really cool. Like they gave me a coding challenge. It was online, like we are now. And I was really really nervous. I failed because I was nervous. My interview was my internet was bad. There was like a lag, I don't know how to call it, like a buffer. Like the connection was bad. And my mind, in my mind, was like, oh, I'm gonna make a fool out of myself. This is my real coding interview, and I'm gonna mess it up. And they gave me, like, I knew I messed it up, and I told them, like, okay, I know I'm not gonna get hired, but I appreciate you guys for giving me a chance, blah blah blah. And they actually started giving me feedback, and they gave me this such a constructive feedback. Like they said, look, we can see that you know a lot of stuff, but you just need to practice more so you can showcase it when it's needed. So they're like, I would really really appreciate if you apply again in like 3 months, and you just go on code wars or something, and you just practice, because we can see that you know everything. And I was so happy. I was like, "Whoa! Like this is like my first, coding interview experience." And they're giving me this really good feedback. And then the next day I applied. I had my, like, the interview for the job that I have now. Like I got hired. I didn't need to apply again in 3 months, but I was gonna, because their feedback was really nice, and I knew a lot of stuff, but I just I was nervous. It was my first coding interview, so that's why I failed.
The great
Sometimes
that's
I
a
talk too much.
No. It's good. You actually brought up a really good point. When we first start, we're self-employed. We're not self-employed. We're self-taught, and we don't have that paper like a CS degree. So our confidence is low, and a lot of
Yeah.
times we underestimate ourselves and where we are. Obviously, you need to keep working on your skill, but we always feel like we're not good enough, and we almost like expect people to say no. And even to me, I've been doing this for like 4 years now, and I still have
Nice.
confidence issues, or what they call the imposter syndrome. And I have to have other people tell me, no, no, Paul, you're doing good. You're good enough. And so I think that's another reasons why a lot of times we have these reservations for not going for interviews, because we feel like already that we're not going to get the job. What I would say, let that person decide who's hiring you, if they want to hire you or not. And if they say no, before you leave, be like, hey, why did you guys decide to go with another candidate? Can you at least give me a reason that could help me in my next interview? And that way, by every interview, learning a little bit more of what you have to improve. After 10, 11 interviews, you iterated through the process, you grew as a
Yeah,
developer based on the feedback, and you're
exactly.
definitely going to get that job. And then I just want to say this. Edward says, I'm 33 and just completed CSS Site.js tomorrow, where most of the people quit. Do I have any suggestions to keep more? Bro, keep going. Here's your motivation. I started, I was already older than you. I started learning to code at 35. And because I didn't take myself seriously, it took me like a while to get my first job. So you're way ahead of the game, at least when I started. So just keep at it, Edward. You got this. You're going to get there. And 100% right here, this is a good advice. Find communities and support system. By the way, I have a private community that I don't advertise a lot. If you guys want to join, there is a prerequisite. What is it? You're probably wondering, what is the prerequisite for this community? So I have a community where you could ask questions. What you have to do, you have to send me either LinkedIn or your GitHub or a link to a portfolio project that you're working on. And the reason why I asked that is because the people that I want to be part of the community are people that actually at least took that first initial step to building something themselves, or at least taking a tutorial, and they have a link, or at least a link to their GitHub that showcases that you're trying to code on a daily basis. And if you want to join that community, you could email me at codingafter30@gmail.com. Coding after 30, it's so hard for me to say because people make fun of me. They're like, you got to say coding after 40. I'm like, that's not the demographic of people I'm trying to hit. Coding after 30. So let's go. Let's go through here. Like, Sharon says, thank you for advice. No, Sharon, thank you for being here and joining us on a Saturday, because I know a lot of people have stuff to do on Saturday. You know, Saturday is like a good day to do stuff, especially
It's
at this
Sunday
time.
on my end, but it's okay.
Sunday, 4 a.m., you probably should be sleeping.
4:52.
So I appreciate 5 a.m. I appreciate you being here too. Uh,
No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
and
Thank you
here's
for
the,
having me. And by the
yeah,
way,
no, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead, and then
No, no, you go,
no,
because it's a delay.
you go ahead.
It's a delay. You were. I was just gonna say this comment. Fatil was saying, you know, join newbie developer 2 communities. Programming is hard, let alone learning it by yourself. Try to find a coding friend or partner. 1000%. And thank you for saying that. Coding is hard. There's no such a thing as like I'm gonna learn to code in 3 months
Yeah.
and make 6-figure income. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. It's not true. It's not true.
I just saw these days. I saw on Instagram there was like this advertised like learn to professional code like in 3 months. I was like, whoa! Like, what are you gonna do different than what I did? Like, what are
Dude,
you gonna
after
teach them
three
and how are you
years, I
gonna teach
still
them?
don't feel professional.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel professional either. But going back to the person that asked about motivation, because I'm a big fan of motivational, so I couldn't just let that one slide. Look for David Goggins on YouTube.
Yep,
He'll definitely
one
gonna
thousand
gonna he's
percent.
definitely gonna keep you going. Yeah, and even Gary Vaynerchuk also has
Nunchucks,
good
Gary
advice on
Nunchucks.
motivation,
Yeah,
and there's
very good
yeah,
stuff.
it's
No,
really
but
nice. And on go ahead.
there's a good book that I recommend everybody reads. It's written by Jocko Wilkins. It's called Extreme Ownership, and it's a great book because it really showcases, if it's meant to be, it's up to you to do the work and do the steps, and not even like me as a YouTuber giving you advice or other people giving me opinion. At the end of the day, who does the work? You wake up in the morning, you put in that time to do that extra study. You're the one who, like, okay, I'm not going to watch
Yeah,
YouTube today unless it's Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, but I'm going to code. I'm going to work on my personal project. And by the way, I have a Tuesday night stream, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We do coding. We code live, mostly me breaking stuff and failing, but that's another great quite like place to see what other people are doing in terms of like what real coding is. It's not as glamorous as you see some of these YouTubers to make it out to be. Here's like one comment Engine Boy said. I once felt uncomfortable, and I remember I called myself a software engineer, and it was said that since I don't have an engineering degree, what do I call myself? Engineer. I felt embarrassed. I think the person that asked that question to you like that is just, I don't know. I have the words for it, but I've been trying to be a better human being and not say those words on my live streams. But what he said to you, it's it's not helpful for anyone. And by the way, when I got my first job working as a React, I was a React developer. By the way, I don't have a CS degree. My boss called me software engineer level 1. So I'm like, I'm going with that title. So it's just the title. It means absolutely nothing, regardless if you want to. Dude, Steve Jobs did not graduate. So whoever that dude was, whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and
that's
besides, you don't want to work
exactly.
for someone like that. You
I
don't
like
want
that,
him.
but
You don't even
yeah.
want him in your team. You don't want him in the company.
So it's kind
That's a
of
toxic person. You don't want
great
him around.
point, Alex. It's actually when someone says stuff to you like that, Engine Boy or anybody, it's basically toxic people selecting themselves out of your life. They basically show you their cards. You know exactly what
Exactly.
kind of person they are. So yeah, just go somewhere else, because even if you get a job there, you don't want to work with a person like that. It's just not good, not
No.
good, not good. And then someone's asking what project that make you get hired. So in my case, I had a bunch of bad projects, and then over time I kept improving them.
Didn't we all?
Right, but the first project that really got me hired, it was a e-commerce store built with React, which was pulling data from an API. And when I talked to my boss about my project, I kind of, because they were working with React and they were doing the same thing. They were using um, ESP.NET's API written with C sharp, but the basically once you know how to work with the API, you know that you're going to be making requests to endpoint, and you'll be getting some data in JSON. And so I was able to relate what I did in my project to what they were doing, and that day, that worked out for me. But what I would say, not so much what project you have, but can you open up a project and start talking about it with confidence? Like, for instance, if you open up a project, I'm probably going to fail right now miserably because my computer doesn't want to do anything. But what's your answer while I try to open stuff? How would you rate having projects in your portfolio, and how would you would you say what is the real value of building projects outside of the fact that you could show them to your uh, like people that are going to hire you, if that question makes sense?
Well, the most important part about having a portfolio is being invited to interview, because recruiters mostly are not tech people. Like they're HR persons that don't have no idea about coding, so they have to see something, and the cooler it looks in their mind, the better a better programmer that you are. Then comes the interview part. Like they're probably gonna show that they make a list, CVs and websites and all that, and they send it, to programmers. Like they make a short list. That's how it works. And programmers are gonna look in your on your portfolio and you're probably on your GitHub to see how the code has been written. And if the code is good, they're probably going to invite you to an interview. Like, and there is probably going to be at least two steps on the interviews. First step is with the HR, like the first interview, and that's basically based on your personality, and they're gonna try to see if you're a good match for a team, if you're not if you're not a douche, if you're easy to work with. That's usually how the first part of interviews work. The second part is where you explain your work. Like, that's where the portfolio comes in, because you have to explain everything that's written there. And if you don't know how to explain it, or you don't explain it in the right way, like when it seems like you copy it from some YouTube project, then you're done. So having a portfolio is required, but also how knowing how to explain everything that's on your portfolio is the most important part, because you can have it, and it won't work for you if you don't know how to explain everything that's there. And uh, having a complex project doesn't mean having like a 5-page website. You can just make a login module, and you log in, and then it says, it redirects you to a page that says "Hi, Alex," and that's a complex project right there. Just having a login page, logging in, getting a token, sending some details about you, and then displaying them on a homepage. That right there can get you hired, in my book.
Yes, 100%. And what I would say, what like the reason why I do a Tuesday night live stream when I'm coding, it's not just the fact that I like doing live streams. I do. I like to talk, as you guys know. But the benefit of it, I'm doing it is because I want to get comfortable talking about my code. So I'm gonna show you like a very like quick example, like this idea, like, and I don't know why I can't zoom in. Like, let's say you're working on a project. If you copied code in a tutorial, this is what Alex was referring to, you might not like know exactly like what this stuff is because you might have copied it and you didn't write it yourself, so you don't quite understand it. But the idea is if you build something from scratch yourself, like let's say Alex, like pick a folder here. I don't know if you could see it. Like pages, hooks, helpers, context,
It's
component,
really, really. Go to components. I don't see it,
components.
but I've heard you saying it, so I know what's in it.
Okay.
I know what's in it.
Okay, so components. Um, we have error
Pick the
message.
like the third one from the top.
Third one, create team form. So
It's-
boom, I opened create team form, and basically because I wrote this code myself, I didn't like copy it from a tutorial, and this is basically from the project that we built on my Tuesday night live stream. Like pick a line in code like randomly, like number from 1 to
45.
117, 45. So let's
45.
go to 45. Like when I go to line 45, like I shouldn't like um have an issue like what this is. So for instance, we look at here, and I'm like I don't know why my screen doesn't want to get bigger. Like that sounded kind of weird. But anyway,
Tried
so
Command Plus.
I am. Believe me, I know that command. Let me just make sure my no, my keyboard is set to Mac. I don't know, but it normally gets bigger. Okay. Anyway, we're talking about
Pause.
45. So this has error. Basically, this is inside the form validation function, which its only job is to see if the data that I'm providing within my form has an error. And specifically on line 45, it is calling my validate generic function, which is basically my generic validation function, which checks the state and either sets, if, and this is very simple validation, by the way, just checking if text length is equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, the field must be blank, so set the error to true. And if it has something in it, then there is no error because somebody entered. And that's basically will return if the text field that I'm testing here has errors or not. And so you should be able to go through your code and like explain like line 81, what is this input? Well, this input is actually a custom React component that I made that takes input for the input field. If you go to the definitions, we could see the props that it has. It takes ID, name, error type, whatever. And the point is it has a label here. If you pass the label prop, it will show the input. If you don't pass the label prop, it won't show the input. But it doesn't have to be even this detailed. But the idea that I'm trying to say, and I don't want to waste the whole time doing this,
It's
is
probably
that
not gonna be that detailed, but
it's not
it's
even going to
good
be
to
that detailed.
it's good
But
to.
if you could talk about your code in a conversational manner like I just did, you know enough. And if you can't talk about your code like I did, guess what? You don't have to make a video on YouTube, but just out loud at home by yourself, or have like a thing that you talk to, and go and describe your code to somebody else. And that's actually what they call that, the rubber duck technique or whatever in coding, where you have a rubber ducky and you talk through your problems in coding. Like, so the idea is that you need to be able to verbalize your code, and by practicing that, I know it sounds silly, you're going to get better. You're going to get better at being able to explain your code. What are your thoughts? And you did, like, I basically said the same exact thing, but is anything else you would add to that?
No, no. You definitely need to know how to explain them, but it might not even get there. They might not even ask you to explain your project. They're probably gonna have something they want you to do. Even if it's a go take home project, I think they're called, when they give you like a React, thing or whatever, view, or they have you code something right then and there, like with them. They give you a big array with a million objects in
Objects.
them, and the objects have like 300 key value pairs, and one is an array with 10 arrays in them, and the objects, and they have change a field on that one, basically.
And then
And
sometimes they'll
that
be like, we'll be like, what happens if that array has a million things? How would you? And then I'm like, oh my God, oh no, they're not going there. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but it's fine. You do the best you can. Jared Boggs, by the way, I like this. Imposter syndrome never goes away. You just learn to coexist with it. And that's 100% true. People shouldn't feel like you're going to perfect. I know senior developers who still have to figure stuff out. It's perfectly normal to do that. So, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think I have imposter syndrome anymore. I really had it at one point, but now I don't feel like I'm an imposter. I just feel like I don't know stuff. Like, I'm not an imposter because I don't know something. I just have to find
That's
the
a
way
good,
to
actually,
learn whatever it is that I
that's a good mental shift, by the way. I
take.
like that. I like that. I like that. Like it's like you basically grew out of the fact knowing that people sometimes just don't know, and it doesn't matter if you're a junior developer, mid-level developer,
Exactly.
or a senior level, and you're just gonna look it up. You're gonna discover it, and that's absolutely true. And Sharon, yes, I speaking of portfolio sites, Paul, I see that lorem ipsum is still above your contact form, and yes, it is. I did say I was going to change it. If you go to paulvasovsky.com, you'll see in the contact form I have lorem ipsum. My defense is that for the past month I've been interviewing and going through that process. So, and by the way, like notice I only do live stream, and some live streams I don't even do because I did been extremely busy. I don't mean to make an excuse, but here I am making excuses. But one day I'm gonna change that, and that Paul, yeah. And so I like that. Thank you, Sharon, keeping me honest. I'm going to have to change it. So I'm turning red. I'm blushing because make mistakes. So look,
Yeah.
and this is another good idea. Like, look, like if you all have good or bad interviews, if you good thing about applying to a job that if you fail so bad that it's embarrassing moment, only the people who interview know it. It's not like the celebrity that when you make a mistake, it's in public. Will Smith. Yeah, and so what I was gonna say is that's absolutely true. The worst thing that's gonna happen, you just have that bad interview. Like the world is not going to end. You'll be able to go back to your next day and go through it again and stuff like that. So
Failing should not be embarrassing.
here's a
I
good
don't know
practice.
why we have that in our
Here's a
mind.
good question, Alex. You start with
Failure is the mother
that's how you
of
get better.
success.
That's how you get better.
Sorry.
Like the reason I am where I am today is because I failed more than people next to me. But what I'm gonna say, here's a great question. What are the things you have learned in those 4 years as a professional developer? You could start first, Alex, and then I'll talk about kind of like my
I don't have 40 years of experience, so I can answer this
1 year
question.
of experience, 3 months, whatever you have, like almost what are you 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, two.
No, officially, I'm only one in something.
That's good.
One
So what have you
in
learned in
two,
that
three
one
months.
year? But first of all, I'm going to say this. I learned more in my first 6 months as a developer than I did in my first 3 years of self-study. So I know you learned a lot.
Yeah,
So
of course, of course.
tell me like what one of the things that you learned or maybe you were surprised by or what have you happen or whatever.
Talking on a tech part of the job, or like
Well, it could be anything.
being employed
Any
or
like
stuff.
I think it's like in general like a question like what did you learn as a professional developer? Like what some of the tips would you give someone or whatever? It could be technical, it could be non-technical, like but it's important to your job.
Um, be committed, basically, and also be don't be afraid. Actually, this is the most important one. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, to generalize everything
Oh,
with
that's a good one.
tech and
That's a good one.
being employed, everything. Don't be afraid to ask when you don't know, because if you don't know and you don't ask, then you have a problem, and the team has a problem, because you're not able to fix the problem, and you have a problem because people are having expectations from you, and you're not delivering because you don't know something, and you're stuck, and you can't get unstuck unless you ask. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, and
That's probably the
that
best
is the
advice I
number
can
one.
give.
By the way, that's like you literally. That is the first. Like, if I were to have an advice for a junior developer, that would be it. Say you don't know something when you don't know it, because I didn't do that, and I spent 2 weeks of not doing anything at work and then being called out on it, and then it'll be like, why didn't you say something?
Exactly.
Because I was too scared. But the point is, they like, no, just so to fight that. By the way, if I get stuck at a problem at work, like, I do something I call like time boxing, where I basically say I'm going to give myself 2 hours at most to try to figure out the answer, and if
Yeah,
I don't figure
exactly.
out, I'm
Yeah.
going to reach out to someone and get some suggestion or help, and it's perfectly fine. For me, what I've learned from like 4 years of working is that you're not going to know everything, and the project over time is going to get so huge that you just won't be able to do everything. And so, what's important is to know where you fit best and stick to the thing that you do well. For instance, like, I'm not the best at testing. I'm pretty good at building new features in React. And so we have somebody else that handles more of the testing. And what happens, by the way, is when they write a test, they'll do a PR and I'll review it. And they actually been helping me learn testing. And it's been a while now, so now, like, I understand testing. So the point that I'm saying is, like, you're on a team, and so rely on your teammates to learn the stuff you don't know, and at the same time understand that you can't do everything. And that's why you have different teammates on your team. Like, you're gonna have people that are more responsible for DevOps. One thing that I learned, it's one thing to build a project, and it's a whole different thing of deploying a project to a live website, not
Yeah,
like your personal
exactly. Yeah.
project, but a company project, because your company project can't just break. And then, because it has paying members, it has users, it has to have mechanisms in place that prevent it from breaking or experience downtime. And that's where, uh, you start doing continuous integration, like development, and you create things in place. Like, I learned about new things. I was actually telling Alex at the beginning, like using Circle uh, CI, and then there's another thing called,
CAI.
yep, Sentry, and then having automated testing that automatically runs, and it won't deploy your code like if something fails. And that, so you learn a lot of that stuff. But what I would say, when you're starting out, understand this: everybody knows that you're at the beginning of your journey, and they only gonna assign things that they know you're going to be able to figure out. They might be like not easy for you, but at least it'll be realistic enough to solve. And I'll actually give you another example. When I first got hired as a React developer, for some reason my boss thought I was a C# and ASP.NET master, so he told me to come up with a security, like, entity implementation for like the whole backend API to have very granular control over the components. And actually, everybody at that meeting laughed silently, because even for the senior developer, that's something that would take 3 months to do. But the fact that my boss asked me that on my second day was hilarious. And I was like, "Does my boss like crazy, or he just doesn't know?" So I, like, after the meeting, I had to be like, "Hey, like, that's not something I could do, because this is something that's more geared towards mid to high level, like senior level developers. So don't be shy, you know, being able to say that, because if you don't, like, if you're silent, that means you could do it. You know what I'm saying? So
You
you
could do
you
it.
have
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you have to not be afraid. Um, yeah, and be able to basically, not be afraid to say it. I was looking at the comment. Okay, so
Yeah,
Edward,
I'm reading. I'm reading comments. Yeah.
yeah, so Edward says, like, as a self-taught developer, how do you make stand out your resume to get first job? So I, like, look up one of my streams. I wonder if I could, how to write a resume. I did a stream. I show
Good
you how
stream, by
to
the way. I remember.
how
I
to
remember. I remember it. I was in the comments, and I remember it. It was a really really good stream. If anyone asks me, because people now are on my LinkedIn asking me stuff. I always point them to, when it comes to resume, I point them to that
yeah. So I,
that
I I did a stream called "How to Write a Resume." I'll share it for you guys right now in a second. Um, because it was actually a really good stream, and I showcase how to write a resume just based on the projects that you built, not for work, but your personal projects. And I talk about in the stream how to do it. So I just shared it in the thing here, and just to kind of showcase, if I were to give one tip for a resume, let me quickly share my resume. And again, watch that stream that I just shared because it's going to go into details. But the most important thing is presentation. Someone should look at your resume and be able to quickly skim it in like 3 seconds or less and be able to tell if you are hireable. And please, when you look at this resume, understand that I now have experience. That's why it's more filled out. But without this being like completely filled out, whatever, if you're just starting out, watch the stream that I just shared because it shows you exactly how you could write same exact resume that I have based on my work. You could do it based on your projects and make it look like this. And what I did, I actually bought a template because I'm lazy. I'm not really crazy artistic in terms of figuring out how to create a resume. And this layout right here, you could do single layout. I really like this approach because it's very easy to know where things are, and it makes it very easy for people to, because it kind of looks like the way people would read the website like everybody used to. They'll read the heading, then they look at the left side, and then they'll look at the right side. And so this is how I did it. So if you're going to have a format for a resume, this is what I would recommend you do. So it's very readable, easy for people to skim and to have like keywords that jump out at them based on what they're looking for. So that would be my recommendation for that. So anyway, let's see here. Yeah, and that's true what you said, Alex. I'm gonna like you're on the show, and I'm gonna quote you from the comments. Alex says, you only grow outside your comfort zone, and that's 100% true. That's how you get better, is constantly going like 10 to 15% out of your comfort zone. Obviously, if you go 50% out of your comfort zone, 100%, it's like I'm just learning how to ride a tricycle. Okay, get on this Ducati and drive it down the street. It's like, no, I'll kill myself. But going like a little bit out of your comfort zone, that's how you do that. So
Yeah.
anyway, like
Just go and stand on the Ducati for a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly. Do a
Don't
willy.
ride it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, right. Stand next to it, take some Instagram pictures for my dating profile. That's enough. But what I would say, so your second job. Let's bring this back. Let's bring this back because I want to be mindful of your time too.
Yeah.
So your second job.
It's
Uh,
Sunday. We could talk like for
I
four
got
hours.
you. I got you. But it's for the sake of the people here. I'm asking the same question for like 45 minutes now. But your first job, what was the process going from your first job? So I'm going to rephrase the question because it's been like 45 minutes. What was the process going from your first job to your second job? And then you did kind of allude to the fact that eventually recruiters will start reaching out to you. So can you shed some light
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that topic? I'm so bad at these like transitional statements. Shed some light, if you will, on this topic of mine.
Well, uh, I let me think. So I didn't apply. I applied. I applied to their. Once you get experience, as I said, you don't really need to apply to jobs. You're always gonna need a CV. You don't even need a portfolio. Like right now, I don't have a portfolio website. If if to say what I would need a portfolio website now would be to get like freelancing projects, because I've experienced with that a little bit here and there, and people want to see what you can build and they want to see the code. But in freelancing, yeah, they're gonna ask you for a portfolio, like always, like let me see what you built, like let me see a live website of what you did. But working, switching careers after you sorry, no career, switching jobs after you already had one, it's not that difficult anymore. You need a CV, and basically that's it. You need to highlight in your CV what you are doing at your current job, like if you're working on the front end, working on the back end, what languages we're working with, what you exactly are you doing, like as you said, get data from an API and render it into pages, or maybe building APIs, or maybe both, building APIs and then put data in them, and then put them then rendering on the page. So uh that was basically it. I applied. They called. There were a couple of interviews. That we had a chemistry like me with everyone. Like I really liked them. They liked me because it's really important. As I said, I had four interviews. One of them, in one of them, I really didn't like the people there, and they weren't mean or anything. I just felt like it wasn't the place for me to work. Even if they had an offer for me, I would have said no. Even though it was a tech company, and they had an interesting project that I've seen on the news. It has been talked about, like their project. It was supposed to start to be something big, but I didn't really felt like I would have fit in there. Even though they're cool people, but I felt that I wouldn't be happy there. So I would have turned them down, and it's an important thing to keep in mind when you get. I don't know if you should keep it in mind when you get your first job, because usually at your first job you get what you take what you get. But toxic environments are bad always. It doesn't even matter how much money you get. You can get like 100,000 a month. You'll still at a certain point you'll just feel like this is not for me anymore. I have to get out. I'm serious. money
You
money
you
is
you
not that
you
important.
you making me feel so terrible. My first job, as you know, I worked at a very toxic company, and I made 13.75 an hour as a React developer because your first job, it's like go like for me, I had no low. That's how, like, I wasn't desperate at the time, but it's like I was like, I need to get into this industry. I'm like already old and I got to get in. I'm not recommending you guys should do it,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but definitely don't want to work for a
but
toxic team and stuff like that for sure.
but how long did you stay? How long did you stay at your first job? How long
Because I
how
love
long was it?
pain. It was a
No.
year and a half. I should have left like right after a year. I should have left. Um, uh,
Yeah.
Jared Bucks for $100,000 a month. I would do it. I would do whatever toxic stuff they want me to do. Um, you guys could judge me,
Yeah, you
but
say that now, but
I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, so definitely don't want to work for a toxic company for sure. So here's a question for you.
I've been in a toxic environment, like really, really, really toxic. And my manager was awful. And I was making decent money. It wasn't into tech. It was right before. And at a certain point, I going through work, I started feeling like sick. Like every time I used to go to work at a certain point of the road, I would start feeling like throwing up. I swear, I was like, what is this feeling I'm having? Like, what's
Oh
happening?
my
Why am I
God,
getting
that's
sick?
real.
And then I
That's
realized,
real.
yeah, yeah, I was starting to feel like I'm gonna throw up when I was reaching the offices.
That's
And
so
I
crazy.
I knew that
People don't think, like, they just
yeah.
say like this is what people say, and I used to be like suck it up, but you know what, you can't if it's such a terrible environment which drains you. I used to work at a company, luckily it wasn't in tech, it's when I used to sell insurance. I had that same feeling. I would get to my job, the people were so negative, like nobody was honest because it's a bunch of insurance salespeople. Like they're good ones, but like the place I worked for is like whatever, like scamming the elderly for uh, insurance. I'm not saying that's what we did. I'm just saying that's what I felt like we did. But I would literally get to my work and use the phone at work to call myself out. And then like my manager would walk by me. He's
That's
like, "Oh,"
genius.
he's like, "I thought you were working today." I was like, "No, I just called out." He's like, "Why did you come to work?" I'm like, "Exactly. I don't know why I came to work." And the funny story, I would go home and I would see my daughter home. So she's skipping school, right? She's skipping high school. And I would see my daughter and then I would come in. I'm like, "Marissa." And she'll be like, "Daddy." And I'm like, so, because she knows she caught me, and I know I caught her because I should be at work and she should be in high school, doing her like whatever. And we would be like, let's get pancakes and let's not tell anybody that we
And
both
ice
skipped
cream.
work. Let's skip that. We won't tell anybody that you skipped school, and you don't tell anybody I skipped work today. And that's the parent relationship right there. It's the way it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, but as you said, if in your tech first job, you if you get it, you need to like suck it up for enough months for you to
For
get a
experience,
second
at least
job.
6 months. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
for
true.
experience,
Like
exactly.
if it's super toxic, leave because you can't. No one's like holding you there with chains. But your first 6 months will go a long way to make it much easier to get your second job. And then Dev and Cyber had a question. I have a question. I learned HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JS, and React, and built some small projects. Is that enough? Start applying now and start getting feedback. With every interview, you're gonna get feedback, and you're gonna get closer to figuring out what you really need in order to get hired. And then his second part of that, um, the other thing I want to go to backend, what do you advise learning? Because I'm a JS guy. What I would say is focus on front end first and just see if you could get your foot in the door with front end because it's much easier. Backend developer is way more complex, and I didn't go and get my first job as a full stack. I started with front end, and then over time I started transitioning to backend, and I'm still transitioning to backend. So it's something that is okay to do, but at least you have a job and you're already working. And Jared Barks also said, um, yeah, 6 months minimum and 1 year if you like the pain. And I think that's like a good thing for it. Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so yeah, I think it's good. So back to that question, you were saying that to get your second job. See, I'm trying to bring it back to the conversation, but I love the questions, you guys. By the way, if you guys haven't smashed the like button for Alex, because I don't need no likes, it's fine. But for Alex, for all of you guys in the community asking these wonderful questions, go ahead and smash that like button. But so Alex basically said after putting in his time in his first job, he started getting more recruiters reaching out to him, and I think at this point his mailbox probably smashed with recruiters. But what was the process
yeah.
of getting that second job? So how did you land that second role?
So I have to add something. The learning never stopped. Like I never stopped learning, even when I
Amen.
had my first job. Yeah, I learned I learned Node. Sorry, I learned Python and Django just to build my own API so I can practice practice CRUD a little better. And I didn't go for Node at that point because I thought that already know JavaScript. I should diversify a little bit and learn to projects. Now, funny enough, I work as I was a backend developer using Node. Like, basically, I'm a junior full stack that at the moment is only working on the backend. But funny, I started with React and now I work with Node. But transitioning into your second job is really gonna be easier. Like it's not the same effort as your first job. It's basically no effort. The effort comes when you go to interviews. Like that's the same. It's still gonna be difficult. It's you still have to know everything. You still have to uh, explain to your interviewer what exactly you're doing at at your job, even though it doesn't mean going to detail. You're not going to give them details about the projects. It's not cool to give them details about the projects and your clients and whatever. But they're going to ask you, yes, okay, so you're building APIs. So how are you building them? What are you using? How you're doing this, how you're doing that. That's how it's going to work. Like it might not even be a coding interview. No, sorry, a coding challenge. It might just gonna be a very long conversation, like 1 hour, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, about everything and they're gonna dissect your brain, your programming brain, of everything. That's how.
Yeah.
So that was the transition to my second job, basically.
And then eventually get your third, fourth, and
I
fifth
don't I
job.
don't have one of I don't have one of those fancy glass bottles, but I have
Listen, but your first job, the real dev job, gave you a laptop, and I had to get a laptop on my
all
third
my
job.
jobs gave me laptops. All my jobs gave me laptops. Even my sales job gave me
What?
cars. Like
You know what? Listen,
all my sales
I'm
jobs,
sorry.
I had
Alex's
cars.
connection is breaking up. Alex's connection is breaking up. I think we're about to lose Alex. I think there's some disconnection happening. Sorry, we're having technical. Alex, it was great seeing you here. I'll see you. No, I'm just kidding.
And phones. I had laptops,
Dude,
phones, and
seriously,
cars.
I
And you
got
can
my
drive the
one.
car anywhere.
Listen, my company, they said, "Oh, what else do you need? You need a keyboard, you need a mouse." I was just happy with the laptop. I was like, "I'll just take the laptop. I don't need anything else." Like, you need a desk? Do you need like? I'm like, no, no, no. I don't need anything.
Monitors.
But by the way, yeah, go ahead. What were you saying? Sorry, I'm just yelling
uh,
randomly.
you're gonna you're gonna end up hating. You're gonna end up hating the working laptop, by the way. Because you
Oh,
need,
dude, that's
need
awesome.
they need to give you access to everything. You need to,
Literally,
ask for anything you want to install
yeah,
on it. You have a
yeah.
team, you have to open a ticket, you want to do this and that.
Oh,
And
luckily, it's not that crazy where I am at. By the way, you're a Mac or a PC guy? Sharon is asking. That's a great question.
Mac,
Yeah,
Mac,
Mac.
definitely
Oh,
100% Mac.
I like Mac too. I like PCs for certain cases, but I prefer Mac also.
Oh, wait. PC, what PC means Windows, or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
having
yeah.
a,
Windows, Windows,
baby
Windows, Windows,
computer at the
Windows,
desk.
Windows. Yeah. JR Bugs got a collar shirt with
Windows.
a company logo. I got a water bottle and a laptop. By the way, guys, I
Oh,
normally
I got a lot more stuff, but I'm gonna, I'm not gonna say anymore. But I have, besides a laptop, I got a lot of more, stuff,
yeah. By the
which
way,
are
like
not tech, but a backpack, a shirt, all that stuff, things to charge your phone with.
yeah,
My
normally
desk
like
is full of
I
stuff.
don't like talking about myself, but I gotta say, guys, I'm like really proud of my accomplishments because especially if you follow my channel, I'm in love. What do I love? What do I love? Tell me. What do I love, Alex? The the
Strappy, you like
most, the most.
Strappy.
I love Strapi the most. That's all I talk about. And so this is the Strapi website, and I am officially part of the Strapi team. Paul Braslavsky right here. Fantastic.
Nice,
So I'm
nice,
super
nice.
excited, and uh, I've never felt that this would ever happen, and I'm still like, I think it's still a dream, and I hate like talking about, what I accomplish, but for me, like the only reason I want to share this with you guys, and I'm gonna not cry, I promise, I'm not gonna cry, is because if you ever like I don't like obviously everybody joins this channel like at different times, but you have to understand I literally started this channel before, like when I was just starting to learn to code. I was like some random dude, like I'm still like some random dude on YouTube, but I literally went from not knowing anything to somehow getting to a point where I was able to get my first job, my second job, my third job, and so on, and then end up getting hired at a company that I happen to like a lot, and because and so to me it's just like amazing. And then Alex, he's on a journey. He started not knowing anything, and then he
Yeah.
became self-taught developer. By the way, why did you decide to switch? Like, what was it like that you were like, you know
Careers?
what? Yeah, like what was it that you were like, let me like go ahead and put all this work, because switching careers or try something new, there's always a risk and there's always hard work and there's sacrifices you have to make, like you were telling me, or like early in the stream you were saying like, look, I bring my kid to kindergarten and then I work and then I study and then I pick up my kid from kindergarten and that's my day. So like, what was it for you that
Yeah,
was like,
exactly.
you know what, this is what I want to do?
Well, I always been a computer guy. Like all my life, I enjoyed computers. I've been a big internet consumer. I've noticed. When you look at a website, I notice details about it, and but funny thing, I always thought that that train has already left the station, because you should learn to code. I mean, go to college. Learn programming, all that stuff. So I thought that it's never gonna happen, but I always dreamed about it. This was something I should have done. This was supposed to be my path. I messed it up, and all that stuff. I had switched careers before, because I worked in medical sales basically all my life, and then I kind of switched to clinical research, which is still in the same field, but it's kind of totally different. And then when I switched the first time from sales, I felt that emptiness inside. Like I felt like I'm only using like 10% of my my brain. Like I felt like I could do a lot more, and I felt like I was doing the same exact thing, like over and over again every day, and I got sick of it. And I was switching companies because I was thinking, like, it's the company's fault, but it actually was the job's fault, because the job implied doing the exact same thing. Then I went to clinical trials, didn't work out, toxic environment, all that. And I you know I saw a YouTube video of a guy saying, like, look, it's possible. I don't have any CS degree. I learned to code when I was older. It's gonna take a lot of dedication. They didn't say, like, it's gonna be a month. Start learning to code, and you'll work at Google in 1 month. And I saw that, and I said, okay, so it's possible. If that guy could do it, I can do it, because I'm strong on I'm really ambitious. So I know if I start a fire, it's gonna burn. So I started researching, uh, what can you build. Like, I knew I wanted to build websites, because I figured that it's gonna be a lane that it's always gonna be evolving, because there's businesses, always a new business every day, and a business needs a website. And I thought, okay, you're never gonna run out of work, building websites, because the demand is huge. So I knew I wanted to build websites, but I didn't know what that implies exactly. What stack? I didn't know anything about backend. I basically didn't know anything. Didn't Nothing. Like, I knew about JavaScript and Java, because I knew there were programming languages, but that's it. I didn't know about variables. Nothing, 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 nothing. And I started researching. I went to Free Code Camp, because that was the platform that the guy have advertised. Like, I mean, he said it wasn't a paid advertise. He said that that's where he started, and I didn't know anything else. So I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna start. And I joined their Facebook page, and from there someone recommended, said, okay, look, there's also another platform called Code Academy. I went there, started doing some modules there. Then I've joined a bunch of Facebook groups, and someone said Udemy. Said, okay, what's that? And then Udemy was like the platform of choice, is still the platform of choice to me, because it's basically anything you need when you want to learn something. It's a video with audio explanations, and coding, and they show you how they do it. And basically that's my go-to when I want to learn something, or uh, research for something. uh, so basically that was it. When and funny story, I think I've mentioned this before. I didn't find John's course, because John's course basically got me fired. Like, I'll say that until I get a pension. It was
So many
John.
people, yeah, so many people
It
used
was, yeah,
what they learned
yeah.
from him,
Shout
which is
out.
amazing. Yeah, shout out to John Smilga.
Exactly, exactly. Shout out to John Smilga. Yeah, I can't wait for the podcast to be back. I miss him.
Yeah,
I
it'll,
miss
it'll, it'll come
being on the
back. It'll come
lives.
back. Yeah.
Miss everything. I'm sure. I'm sure he will. Um, so finding his courses. I went on Google, and search for JavaScript projects, because I had done some courses on JavaScript, but there, thinking about them now, they weren't what I needed. But anyway, so I reached JavaScript projects, and I found this website, 100 JavaScript projects, and the guy probably had took John's course, and he had a reference to his courses on Udemy. It's like, wow, this is so cool, and that's how I end up, doing his courses. It's really funny. It's a really funny story. And I did his React. I did his JavaScript course, his React course, probably some of his HTML course. I probably bought all his courses, because
I
I
bought
thought it was awesome.
I bought
Now
all
I
his
did,
courses,
yeah,
even though
yeah,
I don't like Gatsby. I still bought his Gatsby course, but
yeah,
just to support him, because he's such an amazing human being that, like, and his
yeah,
courses are
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
He
yeah,
gives everything. He gives everything. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And really well structured. So you
very
start from
well
one end and
structured.
you
Yeah,
finish to.
so very very structured. Like, I recommend. Like, people ask me, Paul, why don't you make courses on Udemy? Because first of all, there's bajillion courses already, and also there's, like, if I were to recommend a course, I would just recommend John Smilga courses, because for me they're like the best clear cut courses in terms of going from very beginning, very methodical, the way he thinks and present things, like it makes
Yeah,
sense
exactly.
to
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying that John's the only courses like Brad Traversy. There's so many other people. Like basically, if you find an instructor that you could
Yeah,
relate
yeah.
to, go ahead, take their course. But for me, it's just such a good courses. By the way, there's a great question from Eli. Questions, any hobbies not related to your job?
Me
Yeah,
or
start with
you?
you.
You
Yes,
go
both of
first.
us. Well, before doing coding, I was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA instructor. And so that was my hobby. And if I would go back, I actually had a YouTube channel where I showed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu moves and stuff for my school that I worked at. But that's what I like. Like if I'm not coding, like I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and I try to make music. I don't know how to make music, but I try to make music.
Nice.
But what I would say though, when I decided to make a career switch, I put Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and MMA on hold for 3 years because it was such a passion of mine that I wouldn't be able to do it part time. So I would have to at least train 4 to 5 days a week, like 2 hours a day, and that would be like 10 hours that I could have been
Yeah.
spending studying to code. So I did put a lot of my hobbies on break, and now that I finally feel I'm at a place where I feel comfortable, and so now I'm bringing back my hobbies. Like I started, you know, making more music. I started like trying to do that because you got to balance life and play. But I used to do boxing, which I stopped because my brain hurts. But what I was gonna say, when you go for that initial let me switch careers for a year, 2, 3 years, I would say immerse yourself coding only because it'll be the quickest way to get to your goal. I'm not saying that it's the best advice, but I'm saying that you sometimes just got to do what you got to do, and to take things that you kind of like and putting them on hold for your career switch. I think that's very important. And I know you could probably relate to that, Alex.
Yeah, yeah. So my hobby, outside my job is coding. And it's funny. I laugh because it's funny. It's true, Um, but I used to do. I've probably in the last 6 months I've done nothing but program, like for myself, and my mind and body. I've just come to realize that yesterday. If I'm away from the desk in my free time, somehow my body is feeling nausea. Like it's telling me like something's wrong. We should stay at the desk, do it. And the mind is sometimes sick. Like I could look at I would like to work and just come and try to code something and just look at the screen and realize that my mind is not working, like it's not there. I would like to do it, but it's just saying, okay dude, stop. It's enough. Like take a break, go away, go watch a movie, go do something. I haven't been to the gym in I can't even remember since when. Probably 5 6 months ago. I've been 2 days ago just to visit to see if I would like to go to a gym closer to home or not. But I haven't worked out in a while. I've gained a lot of kilograms. I used to do boxing like
Look me
heavily,
too,
but
bro. My face used to look like
yeah,
oval,
yeah,
and now it
exactly,
looks like a circle, which is scary. Like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm starting to trying to go to the gym, but then balance a little bit because I like coding that much that I don't. It doesn't feel like work to me. I talked to a friend today. Today this morning, she's like, "What are you doing?" I send her a picture of my mother. You're working today? I'm like, I'm not working. I'm doing it like just for fun, just to learn stuff, just to practice, just to get better, just to be on the path that I'm having in my mind. Because I have a path in my mind that I want to reach. And she's like, "You're overdoing it." You're like, "Nah, I'm not." But yeah, you have to balance it at a certain point.
But when you're starting out,
Definitely.
you do
So I
have
don't
to
know.
immerse,
Hobbies.
immerse. You have to immerse. Like the way you're saying, coding was your life, because how I would say to people, how important is it to switch careers and be successful at it? If it's really important to you, guess what? You will have to give up 2, 3 years and make coding your life just so you could get to a point,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
coding is hard. Like when people say I did a boot camp for in 4 months and got a job, you have to understand that those people are
I
going to
still can
class
get
from.
that. I really
But
can
let me
get that.
tell you though, let me tell you, just to like, for like people that I have a friend, his wife just finished a QA boot camp and she got a job, actually making 90,000. It was like amazing. Uh, she went to class from 8 in the morning to like 6 p.m. and then they had like 5 hours of homework to do. So she literally, and
Oh,
that,
okay.
I
Now
mean,
I
she
get it.
couldn't,
Now I get it.
she couldn't work. She couldn't work because she had to, and which is like hard because if you have to go full time boot camp, you have to have somebody that's like. Luckily, she had her significant other, my friend, who was taking care of her and all this other stuff. But like, yeah, the commitment is huge. And what I'm saying is like, there's a strategy in like learning music, which I don't know because I suck at music, but it's very common. Like they call like immersion learning, where you basically everything you do revolves around like immersing yourself in music, or when you're learning a new language. Like I used to be married. My wife was from Mexico. I learned more Spanish
Nice.
going to Mexico. I forgot it, by the way, so don't test me. Uh, El gato muy grande. That's basically terrible. That's all I know. But I learned I learned more Spanish being there for 3 months with her than I did in all my time in school. Because when I was in Mexico with her, it was 1,000% just Spanish all around me.
Yeah, Spanish.
And you kind of can't help it but to learn it over time. Now, like my fiance is from Thailand. When I went to stay with her in Thailand, I picked up some Thai because I was living in the culture and society where that's the commonly spoken language. It's all around me. The store I go to, the bathroom I go, whatever I go, like the TV I watch. And it should be the same thing with coding. You got to immerse yourself. And this is why you're going to get there. And by the way, Engine Boy has a really I like it. I like where you're going. Engine Boy says 4.99K subs, so close to 5K. Congrats, ball, man. It's because of you guys. You guys do all the work. You show up, you guys add to the conversation, and he's saying, let's make it 5K by today. Yeah, by the way, guys, if you have Twitter, I mean, share on Twitter, whatever you want. I think it'll be cool. Although, like, I don't know how long we'll be able to keep up the stream not because I don't want to, but my voice is starting to, like, but yeah, no, awesome. Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also adding to the dedication, it's gonna you're gonna dedicate yourself like 300% work, learn all day, and you still won't be like Mark Zuckerberg or something. Your
yeah, there's some people
high
they're born
expectation
different.
of a
They're born
programmer.
different. Yeah.
It's still gonna be a slow process. Even me now, looking to myself, in the past, like I'm like million, years, in progress. But looking like to some of my colleagues or stuff like that, I'm feeling like I'm million years far from them. So you have to always look at yourself when you started, not where you want to go, because you might get discouraged thinking like that. It's a slow process and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
That's what
no,
I want to highlight.
100%. I just wanted to because Bang here, he says, I'm trying to find his comment here. One second, one second. He says, just debugged Strapi project has been stuck on for weeks. That feeling is everything. And by the way, I want to add anybody that's working on uh, project and Strapi, like I'm not saying you guys should use Strapi. I love Strapi, but I was gonna say if you are using Strapi, I don't know if you know they have a Discord channel, and there's a lot of people that give a lot of active help. So if you ever working with Strapi and want some extra help, yes, you could go to the documentation, but you know. Sometimes it's hard when you're a beginner to make sense of the documentation, or when you're not a beginner, sometimes it's just hard to make sense of things. So going on their Discord, very good help in their forum. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know some of you guys are building projects with Strapi. By the way, I want to quickly show you, like, uh, yeah, like quick. How do I switch my screen? So, by the way, on Tuesday night streams, I'll come back not next week, but the week after that, because I'm super busy at work. But on Tuesday night streams, we're building this. I used to build the bug tracker, but this channel Code Foundry that was their idea. They're the ones that championed the best project to rule them all is the bug tracker. So we're building a team tracker, and so
Nice.
that's what we're going to do. And so this is what we're building, and you could, by the way, check it out. If you go to, I'll put the link here. It doesn't have like too much functionality because we're building it slowly over time on our live stream. It's using Strapi 4 because it allows us to create a very quick API really fast, and so we could focus on our front end development without worrying too much about the back end stuff. So you could like log in. I should probably make these buttons where you click them to auto populate the password, but right now you're able to log in, and it's probably going to break on stream. No, my internet is a bit slow, but you're able to log in. The functionality that we implemented so far is that log in and log out feature. We have the ability to create a team. Like, check that out. I click submit. It creates a team. I'm not happy. I clicked it twice. Actually, this is a bug that I just found because my internet's so slow. I clicked the button twice, so it created the request twice. So what I need to do is make it disabled when it's shooting the first request. But that's okay because we have this delete functionality where I'm able to delete stuff. We also implemented ability to update. So if I click edit, I could update whatever I'm doing here and save, and it saves it in our database. And this application is deployed. The front end is on Netlify, and the back end is deployed on DigitalOcean. So if you want to see me like work on personal project and give you some feedback, answer questions, and I don't know everything, but I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. This is what we do on our Tuesday night stream at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll put the link for this project. If you guys break it, just let me know, so that way I could try to fix it. I like this comment. Brian says this is just to show the state that I'm still in disbelief. But Brian says, why are you saying their Discord and their documentation? You work there, say ours. Yeah, I'm still in disbelief that I work there.
Good
It just
point. Good
blows
point.
my
Good point.
mind. It blows my mind. That's where I work. But the biggest fear I have right now is waking up tomorrow and being like, it was a dream. It was just a dream. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. So, so working at your like, I like to like we have you as a guest, and I think I've been like the terrible guest because I've been
Yeah.
asking the same question for like past 2 hours. So let me try to get the third part of that question that I was trying to ask. Now that you talked about, so those of you who joined late, it's okay. You could always rewatch the stream. But basically, the story of Alex, he went from medical sales, decided to become a developer, sent out his resume 200 times, got 4 people saying maybe, and then his last interview, he got a job. He worked as a not a real developer, but working with WordPress. Not saying that WordPress is not development, but there's like
No,
content
no.
management.
I did. No, I did coding as well. It was a
So
it was
why
a
did you
front end
say
developer
to
role.
me it
I
was
did
not
coding.
real? Why did you say it was not real? Like,
I didn't say it wasn't
you
real. I
said it
said it
wasn't really
wasn't like what I'm doing
technical.
now.
Okay, fine. I
It
just
wasn't.
gonna say
It wasn't that.
before
It
somebody
was.
that loves WordPress and PHP and WordPress is good. Gonna say that like that. And also, like, we're not saying it's not real development because it is real development. It is. So he had like real, like, so when you said it, not your real, you meant to say not your real ideal job. Okay, so figure out. And then you worked
Yeah,
there for six
probably. Yeah,
months.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my mistake. And after 6 months or so, um,
8 months. 8 months.
eight
Probably
eight
8 months.
months, 6 8 months, 6 to 8 months. What this is how long ago I asked this question that I don't remember all the details. This is insane. I got to be a better host. Then you kept building projects, starting on your own, and eventually led you to your third job. What are you doing on your third job?
Second job.
And wow,
Second.
what a
My
bad
second
host.
job.
Bad
Hi,
host.
Paul.
So,
How are you?
hey, hi, Alex. Nice to meet you for the first time. So
Yeah.
yeah, your second job. This is how like those that game of
Yeah.
telephone where it's like 10 people they say the same word to each other and by the end it's like the donkey was sitting on the mountain. Like so. Your second job. And so, what do you do at your second job? And what are your goals moving forward? And what do you hope to accomplish in the next like 6 months?
Well, the goal, the always has been to become a better programmer.
Mm.
Like, I don't even know how to detail that. Like, you know, because I'm still learning. I'm still a student of the game. Like, I can't even call myself a student. I'm like a junior like student. Like, I still feel like I'm getting. I've just come through the door, so I'm still young. But the basically the goal is to become senior at some point, and dedicate and learn to program and go through everything that you're supposed to go through. Make all the mistakes because you know practice makes perfect. Basically, you need to practice. You need to go through everything. That's what John said it on one of his podcasts. When someone knows the answer to the to a question or your question or a situation that you're going through, it's because they've been through it themselves. They've been through it and now they know how to fix it. And I want to go through everything just to know just to know everything basically when it comes to programming. So evolve in that way. Learn JavaScript so well that if I go out and get drunk one night and you come and wake me up in 4 in the morning and ask me something about JavaScript, I just know it, even though I've
This is what
had a
SX
rough
actually
night.
means. Yeah, no, I hope one day I could do that
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
yeah, no, I think that's my goal
Learn
too.
and learn.
I think I kept calling myself junior developer for like my whole time working as a developer that my boss had to tell me like you can't call yourself junior anymore. I'm like, oh, just that's just how I feel every day, every day. Um,
Yeah,
so, any questions from all of you wonderful people on this beautiful Saturday night,
yeah. I saw. I
day,
saw.
evening?
I saw.
Yeah, shout them
I
out. Like
saw
if you
one.
have something like you wanna, because
J.R. Boggs asked, "How long was Alex's self-taught journey?"
that's a
Uh,
good question. Great question.
well, since I started and actually landing a job, it was probably around 11 months, ten
Wow, that's pretty
months,
good.
I
Pretty
think.
good. That's actually really good. Pretty, in my mind, that's like you're
Is
definitely
it
cut
though? Because if you go on YouTube now, everybody is like 3 months, 4 months.
3 months, then it's
Maybe it
like
took
2 months.
me way longer.
It's like 8 minute abs, 6 minute abs, 3 minute abs. You don't even need to do abs. It's like so so I think like so everybody I talk to who've been hired legitimately and then feeling comfortable, and comfortable it's a loaded like term when you get hired, uh, because it's actually pretty stressful. You feel like you don't know anything your first like 2 3 months at
Yeah.
work. At least that was my experience. But everybody I talked to, like your experience, I talked to this girl Anna, also this girl Katya that used to uh, be part of our community, and the reason you don't see her
Used to.
now.
She's not anymore. Because I
Okay,
remember
so
that name.
she is,
You
she
you
is,
you
she
said it
is part of
before.
the community, and she apologizes every time when she can't make it to the stream because she's working. She's working, and I can't, like, I'm so happy for her, like that. Like, I want all of you guys to one day get a job, make it in this career that you're too busy to watch my YouTube channel. Like that would be for me. I'd be like, oh my God, that's awesome. And believe me, like I don't benefit financially from YouTube. So if you stop watching my channel because you have a job and you're making your life happen, it's not gonna hurt me. Like my goal, like Alex says, is to keep going and become a better developer and continue growing my skills. And like I have a job, I love my job. I want to be the best that I can be on my job. It's not to let me be a YouTuber. Although, like, sometimes people think that's what I'm trying to do because of how animated I am on YouTube. But for me, my goal is to be the best developer that I can and then be involved in the community to promote this idea of, switching careers to people who were like in their mid 30s, early 30s, late 30s, who are like, man, I stuck, or I want to try something different. It's not the end of the world. You can do it. And here I am. I did it. And there's other people that did it. And so I'll be really, they'll be pretty cool. Yeah, and what I was saying, JR Box,
Yeah.
11 months is more realistic than 3 months for sure. And most of the people, they say a year, year and a half. It took me 3.5 years, 4 years to get my first job. So maybe my brain works differently because I've been hitting the head from boxing too much. I don't know. Or maybe I was just not focused. I think, well, actually, I know what it was. When I first started, I wasn't really focused. I wasn't immersing myself in my learning. And that's why I feel like it took me 3 to 4 years to finally get to getting my first job. And I know that if you guys, like, all joking aside, like, even though I have a YouTube channel, please understand that there's not a lot of value on YouTube. There's a lot of feel good stories that you able to participate, but at the end of the day, you're not getting any smarter and you're not getting any work done. So the thing that I would tell you guys is that you have to do the work. And the reason why it took me 4 years is because I thought that was an easy path. I thought that was like the secret. There is no secret. There is no easy path. It's just knowing what you need to do and doing that work and putting the time. Like Alex said, he literally did it day and night for, you know, 11
Yeah.
months. Like
I
everybody
still
I
do.
talked to. And you still do. Like, what time do you wake up?
Uh, I sometimes feel embarrassed saying that because people look at me and say I'm crazy.
You are
But
crazy.
I had a. Let me show you. Let me show you. I think I can show you guys something. Let me show you. Let me show you
But
this
what I'm
photo
saying, like,
because
everybody has a
is it
different.
this one? Yeah. Check it out. What does it say there? Average sleeping time.
Nah, how you not dead for like 3 hours and 42 minutes, dude? That's messed up. You should try to sleep a
Yeah.
little bit more. Like I sleep about like six
Oh wait,
hours.
wait, wait. Yeah, sorry. Wrong photo. This one. That was
Move it,
for it was a
move
wrong
it
day.
more. Move it more. Move it.
To the right, right. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
I can't.
Here.
Yeah, what does that say
Ah,
there? It's hard to see like the zoom. The well, how many? What?
424. That's the
424. Yeah.
realistic one.
Oh, geez, that's so much
Yeah.
better.
That
It's
one.
literally, oh my God. But here's the thing that I'm gonna say. Like, you don't have to. You have to figure out what works for you, but you have to. This is what I would say: intermittent focus, sporadically over your weekend, is not gonna get you there. It's not gonna get you there. You have to do something every day, and like I work, I code, I come home, I code, and I still feel like I don't know anything. And like I know, like I wish I could say that there's some secret and formula, but it's immersing yourself for the first initial 2 3 years to a point until you get to a point where you are on your third job and you have recruiters smashing your LinkedIn that you know you're going to get a job. So I kept hustling. Like, I hate the word hustling. I kept immersing myself, coding, just like you're doing right now, Alex. And I'm still doing it, by the way. Like, if you talk to my family, they'll literally tell you Paul's locked in his basement working and then coding. And then once in a while, he'll go outside to get a coffee. But the point is, the reason I'm doing it, there's that period of point of like I don't know what you call it, like where like you could say like you made it, you could not coast, you still will have to do work, but the friction of getting your fourth, fifth job is just no longer there. Like you're able to get it much easier. And so for me, I work hard because I don't want to lose my job and then still not be employable. I want to have
Yeah.
enough experience. And exactly, like I know Alex feels the same way. He feels in a way that if he loses his job, he wants to go to the next interview, 3 4 interviews, whatever it is, and get hired again. And once you get to that point, or in like let me rephrase that, until you get to the point, you have to commit to doing what you need to do
Yeah.
to get to where you gotta go. And unfortunately, like I wish I could tell you things were easier. And this is what I tell people: you gotta,
No.
like, you're not gonna love it all the time or every day, but you have to be passionate enough. By the way, I'm not passionate all the time. Like there's days I just hate it and I'll sit and I'll code for 20 minutes and then I just want to throw my laptop out the window, but at least I coded for that 20 minutes, you know? And
Yeah,
Like, so I don't want you
I
guys
know
to
what you
think
mean.
that
Yeah.
Paul's lucky because he loves it, and look at him. I wish I had the same passion. Guys, you want to know something? This is gonna blow your mind. Blow your mind. My attitude is something that I actively focus on to be outgoing, to being happy, to being whatever. Because to me, I feel like it's the easiest way to cope with difficulties in life, but just try to be optimistic and be like, I could do it. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to learn this thing. And just keep, because it's way better than feeling negative. But let me tell you, like, we all have stuff going on in our lives that is difficult, and we all like have days which suck. And that's everybody. It's not like me or Alex or you. Everybody has hardship. Maybe not as much as Will Smith has hardship at this time, but we all have hardship. And so the point that I'm saying is that we just have to go every day through the day, make it consistent, and consistency over time is what will get you there. So I'll give you a story where to kind of show you that I'm not immune to this, because it's wherever you decide to dedicate your time, that's on what you're going to get good at. If you dedicate your time watching Netflix and eating ice cream, you're going to become good at watching Netflix and eating ice cream. If you dedicate your time to coding and getting better at coding, you're going to get better at coding. So I have a friend. 7 years ago, my friend and I, we went to the gym, and I taught him how to do the deadlift. It's a basic exercise that's really good for
Nice.
you. He fell in love with it. I was in love with it too. 2 years into it, I just stopped. Like, I just stopped doing it. He never stopped. He consistently did a little bit every day. Right now, he is able to deadlift easily like 425 pounds. And he's like short dude for his size. That's like phenomenal. I can't even do, like, I could barely do 225 right now without killing myself. It's because he made a decision. He was like, this is important to me. So I'm going to dedicate every day, little by little. I'm just going to do it consistently over a long period of time. And that's why he made progress and I
Yeah.
didn't. And so I literally tell you, there is no secret except whatever you decide to put most of your energy into, that's what you're going to get good at. And what I would say with coding is that you have to be able to identify when you're spinning your wheels and you're pretending to be doing work, maybe because you're on YouTube, maybe because you're doing whatever, or you code a little bit and you're not really, like, versus like focus time, me and my editor, let me build something from scratch. And this is why I do the Tuesday night live stream, because my goal for everybody who follows my channel, if you don't have a project that you're building from scratch, not from a tutorial, but from scratch by yourself, I would feel like my mission as this part of my community failed, because I know the biggest thing that helped me to get the confidence to get my job was my ability to be able to start projects from scratch, even if I couldn't figure out everything like at the beginning. And so, everybody, I want you to know that it's perfectly normal to struggle at the beginning. You will. And it's going to be hard, yes. But you need to practice building stuff yourself from scratch. And that's my mission on this channel. This is why I keep doing the Tuesday night stream, to show you, look, I am building something from scratch. I am, even at my level, still struggle. It's perfectly okay. You just have to go through the process, because that's how you're going to get to a point where you're able to describe your code to others in a way which will show them your confidence in being able to do the work. And so, I see Alex like nodding his head, being like, yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Anything that you
Yeah.
would
Yeah. I
add to
agree.
that?
I agree with everything. I
I
agree.
just
I
read
agree
your mind.
with
Read
everything you
your
just
mind.
said. And
I read your
yeah,
mind. I was like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
yes. But this is why I like talking to you, because
One thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is
You
why I
said
like
it's weird
talking to you,
talking to me.
because no, I
Oh, you
like
like talking to
talking
me?
to you
Okay.
because you going
Okay.
through the process. Yeah, you're weird. No, you going through like I like talking to you, and that's why I want you to be like come on my stream, because I want people to see other normal people. Not like, you don't have a
Yeah.
YouTube channel. You're not to have a product to sell. You're not trying to show me your like car or drone footage. You're just telling it how it is. And this is like what I do, like on my channel. Just tell you it's hard. You have to do work. It's
Yeah.
gonna take time, but that's all normal. all those other people, they're saying 3 months this, 3 months that, check out my apartment. Like, people ask me, like, why don't you show us the tour of your desk? Like, and to me, that's the most ridiculous question, because why? How is that going to add value to you as a developer learning to get a job? Like, oh, Paul has 2 monitors, a camera, and his computer, and it's all like shit, like, I don't know what's that, shang shui, whatever you call it. Like, it's it's not even organized, but
Thanks,
like
Ray.
feng shui. No one what value does it bring to you? But everybody excited, like, that's why,
It
like,
could be. It could make you. It
no,
could
it
motivate
doesn't.
people to
No, it
have the
won't.
same things.
No, it won't. They're just gonna
It does.
watch my
I
setup.
like watching. I like
Listen,
watching. I
how,
like watch. I watch watching
the
setup
only reason I
videos.
don't get mad at you, because you also code a lot and you also do your work and you really like. But most people, and when I say most people, it's not you guys. I know you guys are not like this. They'll start with one video and then they'll watch like 30-day in life desk tours, developer in life for 10 hours. But let me say hello here. Um, Artur, what's up? It's 4 a.m. in
My,
UK. Damn,
I have to add. I
early.
have to add. I like to watch them as recreational. Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
take a break, I like to see stuff like that. Like to
Listen,
see other developers
if
and
I,
stuff.
for me, I much rather play Star Citizen. If I'm gonna like waste my time, like, I'm not gonna watch what kind of desk somebody has. I'm gonna like fly a spaceship into space in a video
It
game.
might help you. It might help you if you want to. If you want to buy something new. Like I
That's
watch
different.
videos on.
That's different. That's
I've been
different.
quite.
That's different. That's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
That's
Like what mics and what keyboards and what mice is. I don't know. Mouse. That's how you call it, right? A mouse. Mice is. That's what I mean. Yeah. How many days in a week? Can you still hear me,
oh,
Paul?
yeah. You're
I
still,
think.
well, you're still there. So I work. You're hijacking the stream. I like it. No, like, I work five
Yeah.
days a week, but the days that I don't work, I work on my personal projects. And the reason why I have this YouTube channel is to motivate me to be accountable in my work. Like, that's like the reason I do the Tuesday night live stream. I wouldn't be able to maintain it if I didn't keep coding and adding new features. So I'm forced of kind of like, it's like a way for me to hold myself accountable to continue to build things from scratch, and and hold myself accountable on this channel. So I'm still at a point where I can't relax yet, uh, and so I still kind of like doing this immersive living as a developer where everything is code, code, code. And don't get me wrong, I'll still like
Yeah.
watch Netflix or play a game. But what I do is I don't play games every day, and I will play them like by binging to a point where I will I'll give you an example. My favorite show, Raised by Wolves, came out, so I just spent one night, watched all 8 episodes at once. So if I like binging.
Which
I
show?
don't
Which
like
show?
Raised by Wolves. You got to watch the first season. It's on HBO.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and then you got to watch
I
the
saw
second
some.
one.
I saw some. Yeah.
You got to watch it from the beginning, because the end you'll be like, "What the hell happened?" And then this makes no sense. And then the second season, you're like, it still makes no sense, and it's kind of a good show. But the point what I'm saying is that,
Okay. Okay.
for me to say that I don't play games would be a lie. But I don't play games every day, and when I do play games, I'll play them for like 10 hours straight, to a point that I'm sick of playing a game. So it's not like I don't even want to look at the game like during the week when I work. And I'm not saying it's a healthy way, but I'm just saying whatever you do consistently every day will become a habit. So that's why I refuse to watch Netflix every day. Although the one thing that I do watch every day is YouTube. And it's always like coding stuff. I don't watch those day in life of a dev. I don't care about that. I don't watch what kind of desk they're using, but I'll watch like, you know, uh, Fireship has a lot of cool videos. There's like a bunch of other coding channels to learn
Yeah.
about
I
tech. I
love
like
that.
to
I
follow
love that. I
what
love
I
that
what I
channel.
like to watch, by the way, is actually conferences. Like Next.js has conferences,
Conferences.
something. Yeah, conferences. Just people talk about, they
Yeah.
give talks and
I
like
know.
certain technologies. It's cool. And then sometimes I watch stupid stuff before sleep, but I still like make sure that my YouTube time is nowhere near as close to the time I spent coding. And like when I say to you guys, I hope you all get a job that in your development journey and that you get so busy that you don't have time to watch my channel. Like I'll be like I wouldn't even be offended because at the end of the day, I want all of you guys to get your job, make your career switch, do whatever to a point where you're like, I'm too busy. Like I just need to focus on my job. I need to work on my work. I have to focus on my project, and I'll be okay with that. Like the reason why I do YouTube is I gave up like on this idea of monetizing YouTube because there's no point. YouTube, first of all, likes stupid content, like you know that becomes popular, and I'm not good at that type of content. And number two, it's the like I don't want to be a YouTuber, but I want to be involved in the community and with the people who are developers because I want to have a two-way conversation where not only maybe you'll get something from my experience, but I do have people coming on my streams and telling me about stuff. Like I learned so much stuff from you guys as well, and I like that it goes both ways. And for me, like I just love the community. Like I always talk about what's the best way to get better at coding is being part of a community where you could engage, have your question answered, and I might not be the one answering your questions, right?
I
You
didn't have
could
that. I didn't have that. So people are lucky to have that. I didn't have a community. It
And it
was all
doesn't even
me,
have to
me,
be
me,
Mike.
me,
I'm
and
actually
people
bad
on
at
his.
like answering questions sometimes because I like getting busy. But what I'm saying is that join other communities, join like Discord where there's a healthy community, and like that's one of the reasons I like Strapi Discord, which being guilty I found out about like 2 months ago, which I was like, oh my god, it would have saved me so much time if I knew about it because like you get really good answers. And so look, I listened to Mr. Beast, right? And people like, why is Paul bringing up Mr. Beast? He's like the biggest YouTuber. Who cares? Who cares? He makes funny videos and donates a
I
lot of
have
money
no
to good
idea who that
charities.
is.
He's like the biggest YouTuber ever. This
Shamefully.
this is what he said. He said when he first started YouTube, he was young. He was like 13 or something. He had a friend, and him and his friend would spend 10 hours a day just trying weird stuff on YouTube to see what works, what gets the best click through, what response, what didn't work. And then they would compare notes. And he said, when you're by yourself and you try to do everything on your own, the time to learn that lesson will take you as long as it takes you. But if I'm working closely with Alex and we're passing by ideas back and forth, maybe like I'm having
Yeah.
an issue with something I'm learning and he already knows the answer. He tells me. So now my time to learn is shorter. And so imagine it's a community of 10, 20, 30 people where you're switching in and comparing information back and forth. Now you guys are learning at an exponential rate. And this is why I'm all about community. This is why I'm all about working together, like asking questions. And look, at my job, we had a person come in who's like way smarter than I am. And I'll use this example before. He's just so much better than I am at writing tests that I had him write tests. And then I literally went to him. I'm like, hey, to be honest with you, I'm not the best at testing. So can you take some time and show me what you did and explain to me? And he was kind of shocked because he's like a junior developer. I'm like, look, I just want to, this is not something that I'm the best at. And he took his time. He went through his code. He helped me out. And I was able to learn at a way faster pace than trying to figure out on my own. And this is why community is important. This is why sharing ideas is important and working together, on projects. And if you can't work together on projects, which is perfectly fine, have a place where you could have discussions about what you're working. And by the way, this is why I want to keep doing my Tuesday night coding stream where we actually code, because not only is it I show you what I'm doing, a lot of times people are like, oh, Paul, there's a better way of doing what you did. And guess what? I just learned something. And that's fantastic. Um,
I saw a question, but I can't really find it. It was like, what do you listen to in the background while you code? Like if it's
I
music or a podcast or something.
So there's this genre of music called like new retro wave. It's like, because I'm like 80s child and I grew up on all the 80s movies, like, Van Damme movies, all this other stuff. And so it
Yeah.
new retro wave, it's like that type of music, but made like in 2022. And so like I just play that all day while I code. And if I really need to get some quality time, like I'll listen to some hardcore stuff to like make sure I'm like, but everybody's different. Everybody likes different music. But that's what I do. Like,
Nice, nice.
oh my God,
I can't really listen to a lot of
se-
stuff while I code.
seven lines calling me out here. He says, since doing coding, are you still in the shape compared to the teaching BJJ? Not even close. I'm 40 pounds overweight, which is ridiculous. Uh, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm working on working backwards. When my fiance met me, I had a six pack. I'm set, like, which was 3 years ago.
Now you have one pack, just one,
Now I have like
like
a kegger,
like a
like
basketball.
yeah, like two babies and a half, which is fine. But no, honestly though, like that's kind of like a good like 7 lines. I'm glad you asked that question because there's like a balance that you have to find between work and also being able to take care of your health. So this is something that I have been trying hard to find a balance, and this is something that I've been dealing on day-to-day basis. And I realized, everybody's different, so I can't give you health advice, but I did come up with a plan, and I'm starting finally to move in the right direction. But yeah, like definitely, um, you know, there's a cost for everything you do, and then finding that balance is kind of hard. But what I decided to do to something that helps me easier, like when I wake up in the morning, I'll do like right away. I do a little bit yoga, do pull-ups, and I literally have a deadlifting hex bar next to my bed, and I just do a bunch of deadlifts. So that way, I'm doing something every day to make it a habit. And then during like after work,
Did you ever meditate?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't do it now.
How that how does it work for you?
I like meditation. I actually did bunch of training in mindfulness meditation, and I used to do that for work, for stress reduction. And I think it's a very good skill, uh, and it's a skill that takes time to develop. And some people
Okay.
respond to it well, and some people just hate it, like because you're literally just sitting there,
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
some people like
I tried it. So I tried it. I was, my mind was telling me like, dude, you're sitting in the middle of your, living room, just sitting there, and I was hearing my mind saying stupid stuff, and I was like, am I doing it wrong? I don't feel any type of way. Like I'm
no,
probably
there's no
doing it
way.
wrong. So
It's
I
no,
stopped.
you're not. There's no wrong way of doing it. Basically, like meditation, it's not like some esoteric thing. Basically, you just sit down and you just pay attention to what is happening and to your breath going to your nose and out. And then you're gonna have like your mind's just gonna go crazy and like it's just gonna be thinking about everything. And you're like just like take that thought and you try not to judge and just be like it's a thought, and then you come back to your breath, and you just constantly try to come back to reality of life, meaning that you're present in the now rather than being caught up in your thoughts. And that's the whole point of meditation, is to understand that you are not your thoughts happen. Like even like I read a book, it wasn't Dalai Lama, it's like I forgot his name. It's a Vietnamese Buddhist priest, and he said like sometimes he'll meditate and he'll have thoughts about like killing his mother, which is kind of like extreme. And he said it's just a thought. It's just like you're like the thoughts that you have, they just come at random. It's like same like weeds grow in a garden, and the whole point is to be able to know that you're not your thoughts and know that there's this reality around you, like the fact that you're breathing, the fact that you're sitting on like you're on the floor or whatever, and you're not living your life in your mind. Like what happens a lot to people is that, and I'm like guilty of this, is that something happens and they'll trigger like a thought process in their head, and all of a sudden they're like living their life in their head. They're not really living. They're like, oh, like why if I go to that interview, I'm not gonna get hired. Oh my god, but then like I'm not gonna get married, and then like my dog is gonna like, and they just go on this like crazy cycle of stuff that didn't even happen yet, but it's already stressing them out. And so meditation is one way to kind of bring yourself back to reality, because there is no past, and like because it's already gone, and the future, it didn't really happen yet. So there's only the present, and it's like, how are you doing in the present? And I think like everybody should try meditation, and I think it's good. But at the same time, there's different personalities, and some people, let's say, get the same benefit of what meditation does through lifting weights or through going jogging or through like listening to like extreme like hardcore heavy metal. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own like thing of like that's a meditative or has the same qualities. For me, like sometimes like I suck at music, but I'll make like this little loop of something that sounds like cool, and I'll just listen to it for an hour. And to me, it's like kind of form of meditation. Like I'm present in the moment with the music that I made. And so, I feel like, you know, it's not for, whatever, everybody. Like, but what I would say, maybe not meditation, let's say, but find something that you feel allows you to relieve some stress in a productive way, just so you're not bottling stuff inside. Um, but I know we have like lots of questions. Nope, not a lot of questions. Do you make? Oh, here's Isaac says, do you make websites for friends and freelance? Do you,
I have a funny story with that. So
go ahead.
when I started, like when I got to the point that I could really build websites, I started asking my friends like, "Hey man, you need a website, you need a website." And then there was one guy who actually had a business. He's like, "Man, I'm gonna build your website. I'm gonna do this." And no, I don't really need a website. Like, what do you mean you need a website? You have a business? No, I'm cool, man. I don't need a website. And he didn't want a free website. So basically, I didn't build any websites for any friends because they didn't want any.
Oh, by the way,
I
just
saw
know.
so I see Dennis I see Dennis Ivy in the chat, and I just want to shout out him for his Django content. I remember when I was doing Python and Django, I was really really
Dennis Ivy
heavily
is
watching his
is one of my heroes, and he feels like I always say nice things when he comes on, because what I appreciate about Dennis, not his like he's really good at coding and he knows his Python stuff, but I appreciate the entrepreneurial mindset and also this idea that marketing yourself is super important. And this is why I'm like a big advocate of people learning.
Of course, yeah.
The fact that you're doing development doesn't mean that you shouldn't know how to sell and market yourself. And the reason why I got some of the opportunities that I had is from the fact that, I'm constantly trying to, you know, push myself to meet new people, build new connections. And that's why my last live stream, it was the most important skill you could have is knowing how to uh, not sell yourself, but build a community for yourself that allows you to create more opportunity through the people that you know. Um, and and Dennis, by the way, before you came today, I told him how because we had difficulties with audio when we first started this stream, and I was so embarrassed when you came into my stream and I messed up the audio, and it was like really awkward feedback, and I felt so bad. And I was like, oh my god, Dennis will never come back. Oh god, and you were like so cool about it. You were just like, this is like so long ago, and the stream was awesome. By the way, if you guys haven't seen that stream when Dennis was on, it was like fantastic. I gotta like have you on again, Dennis. I know you're busy, so whenever you have free time, let me know. It'll be fantastic. But yeah, um, yeah. So I like already losing my mind. What are we talking about? Uh,
There
there's a
were some
question.
questions.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I was looking at.
I answered it. Would you take home projects? Would you do take
Hold
home
on, hold on.
projects for
Yeah,
free? Someone
hold.
asked.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Hold on a second. Big B420. She knows what's up. Praise Soul. Uh, that's a reference to Raised by Wolves. Amazing show ever. So back to the question: would you do free um, projects for
Take home
freelancing
projects.
or take-home
Basically,
projects?
should you? No, no, no. Would
What was
you
the
would you
question?
do them for free? I think that the question. Should you do them for free? Like,
Let me.
no, they might
Yeah.
use your code for something. I think that's the reference.
Oh,
I
okay,
think.
okay, okay, okay. Go ahead. You don't
Well,
have an
I
answer
I
for
said
that?
yes. I definitely I would.
Yeah, yeah.
I would definitely do it for free. I did them for free, and I think there's you gain a lot of stuff by doing it. First of all,
Yeah.
you know, you code something that it's being required, and you also get feedback for it, and you
So
might get a job.
yeah, you might get a job. Like a lot of people, like if you don't have a job as a developer, like any opportunity that you come to, like obviously, okay, I'll say there's a line. If it's something that uh, it's like a very hard thing that nobody could solve, and you solve it, and it's like a key feature of their product, and they make bajillion dollars. Like that's different. But a lot of times they're asking you just to write little simple things, like whatever. I think when you're looking for a job, like it's okay to do the take homes, and like I've never felt like, oh, I have to charge him for the interview that they're giving me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I think there was one more. I think.
So while you look for that
No, I
question,
can
let me
find it, but
answer the. Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
let me like scroll up a little bit.
Which games do you play? Someone asked which games do
Okay,
you
you
play?
start. You start.
Do you play PC or PlayStation or Xbox,
Like I
or is it
had
just computer games?
Xbox old one and PlayStation 4 old ones because you can't buy a new one. But I'm a big PC guy for games. And the only two games that I played like Cyberpunk, regardless what people say. I think the city is amazing. It's a technical marvel. And now I'm playing Star Citizen because my mind is blown how they're able to accomplish these amazing planets. And they have a planet. The whole planet is a city. Like I don't know, like how
Nice.
they. It's pretty intense. Again, I don't play a lot, but for me to say that I don't play games would be a lie. So I just want to be very transparent with you guys. Yep, yep, yep. So if you see any questions, just yell them out. I'm just scrolling up to see what we missed. So seven
I'm
line
sure
says
that
in
there
your
were there were.
job, how often, if ever, do you use objects in oriented programming? If the plan is to be reactive, do I need to worry about it? I think you should be familiar with it. Like, so I had one interview question where they wanted me to use object oriented, or you could just like, you know, you know, create a class based component. Um, Not like, let me back up. Just with vanilla JavaScript, they wanted to see you create a class that does something, and then they wanted you to create something that does the same thing using the functional paradigm. So I think they just wanted to see that you're familiar with the concept. Now, with that being said, for past 3 years that I worked as a developer, I did zero object-oriented programming. Everything's been functional, especially working with React. And even when I use Node, like I do everything via functions, unless there's like a very specific situation where I need to use a class. And a lot of times it might be because the third party library that you downloaded, that's how they have you use their whatever the library is. They have you instantiate from a class. And so, but for React, like almost never. But definitely be familiar with what it is and know basic concepts.
Someone in one of my interviews, someone asked me if I in React if I use class components or functional components, and immediately after that he said because usually juniors use functional components, and I was about to say functional components, and then just like and I was like, what should I say? What should I say? Because I was using functional components. I was
So
like,
first of
yeah, I do a little bit of both. I prefer functional, but I
so
can use class components. I can
I'll
do
tell
it.
you
I
a
can.
funny story. My first job, like I was working on old React code base, so everything was class based. So instead of looking at all the class based component, if I had to do something, I would just refactor to be functional and use hooks because I was like, screw this.
But
But
didn't they get mad for that? Wouldn't they get mad for that?
no, I told them that
Did you
it's
say
the
on your job, right?
yeah. So I told them that moving forward, this is the recommended approach, and this is why. So I gave him the reasons why. and then they were fine with it because, like, before, like when you use class-based components, if you wanted to make, like, you would have to do a lot of that higher order function stuff and like these wrapper components, so it got crazy quickly. And so I really like the fact that if you wanted to share functionality, you're able to share it very easily with custom hooks through your code base. And so
Yeah.
there was no reason of using class-based components. So moving forward, like, they're still supported, but they're not, nobody's nowadays writing them. But what I would say, if you start learning React today, like right now, do everything based on the new way of thinking, and then go back and then see how to make class-based components, and so you could know what the pain was or what the reasons were and how they handle like the life cycle methods a little bit different, and just kind of get used to it. But very like rare would there be a need for you to do it now. And then Jared
Yeah, but
Barks
you
made a
probably
comment.
most definitely bump into that because
Yeah, if it's old,
you're
old
probably
code
not gonna
base. Yeah.
work. You're gonna probably work on projects that have old code bases.
Jared Buck says, I'm waiting for Paul to buy a
Yeah.
Lambo and do a video release. I don't know if you guys saw my video with the super car I have. Did you guys see that video ever? You've seen it, right? You've seen it, like the one where telling about my Python course I released and how in 3 months I made $1 million. Have you seen that one? You must have. You must have seen it. Here, I'll see if I could find it. That's
I
hilarious.
haven't.
You haven't seen it? You haven't seen my super special, my super. Oh, you guys don't know. From my previous job, when I won the lotto, I was able to buy a very, very nice car. So I'll see if I could find that video for you guys. Yeah, it was kind of funny because, if when you win the lottery, like, you're just able to buy super fancy cars. I don't talk about it a lot because people get jealous. Like, they just don't. Nobody wants to see the fact that you have a better car than most people have. Like, and you don't want to flaunt it. So I just kind of like, you know what? I'll just make a joke and I'll make a video. But I'm gonna find it. See, hold on a second. Yeah, I'll show it to you guys. Um, yeah, yeah, it's like the same reason I don't show my desk, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, oh, he has a desk. Oh, he has
Yeah,
like a
they do. I care.
super,
I care.
super fancy car. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, the
Even
car
though,
part I don't care, but about desk stuff, I enjoy content.
yeah. Hold
Regarding
on a second.
techie stuff because I'm a
Hold on. Let
nerd.
me let me
A
make
nerd, not a
sure.
dork. A nerd. I'm a nerd.
Hold on. Let me sure my audio's on. Yeah, like, yeah, I just don't want people to be jealous, like, because it's just no point, right? So here, I'll share it with you guys. Because I won like bajillion dollars in lottery, like, so I just was able to afford this car. So I just got lucky. But here, I'll share the video for you guys. 1 second. Um, uh, yeah, my super car
Got
over
this,
there.
baby. It's amazing. Like, work hard. I took this course on Udemy. 3 months later, making over 250K. You could do the same thing. Just get my link. It's super awesome.
Hey, get away from my car,
Yo,
man.
and I just got this, baby.
Yeah, so that's my sports card that I have. It's I paid an actor. I paid an actor to come and like pretend that it's his car because I wanted to make the video funny. But yeah, that's the, you know, all it does. That whatever. Just you take the
I
course. It's
did.
fine.
I didn't see that. I didn't
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. No, who am I kidding? I drive a Toyota Camry. If you guys are wondering, it's the best car ever. 2011 Toyota Camry. Um, it gets me from point A to point B. It's fantastic. So
So I
anyway,
see. I see a question
go
from
ahead.
Walter. Hi, Paul and Alex. How important is sticking to the same technology throughout time? Thinking a company is willing to hire you and is open for you to learn new tech. Well, I don't really know through how long is throughout time. Like what how much time are you referencing? Because Companies are always open for you to learn new stuff, so they can use you in different projects. It really depends on your willingness to do so. Me, I'm always open to learn new stuff, but if you go too much out of your lane and trying to learn too much of different things might not get you anywhere. So you have to stick to one lane, and if you're learning new stuff, you should be, around the stack that you're already working with, so you can improve the knowledge that you're already having. That's basically my take on it.
Yeah, same, same. Somebody asked like which device. Oh, Akshay says which device that both of you have when you were starting out. I started on a PC laptop that I bought for like $500 at Best Buy with the worst screen ever, but it did the job. And yeah, by the way, Brian,
I had
exactly.
a Mac.
Only real developers drive Toyota Camrys, and I could attest to that. We grabbed coffee together. We both came in our beautiful souped-up Toyota Camrys, and when I say souped-up, like just basically stock as possible. You know, I like my Toyota Camry because it's
I don't
it's
really
a
know how
very
it
low
looks. Let me
key.
Google it. Let me see.
No, you got to get the right year.
Toyota.
2011 Toyota Camry. I mean, this car, it's a beautiful
Let's see.
2011.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's a
That's
sexy
okay.
car. 2011, right here. I'll show you.
Yeah,
It- It's legit.
looks
It's.
really manly.
I got it
I'm
from my
joking.
mom. I bought my car from my mom. It's a true story. Like
you
so,
know,
yeah. So I used to have a SUV, but like where my mom lives, there's a lot of snow, and so we traded. So I got the Toyota, and she took. Oh, his car, Brian's car has a moonroof. I'm jealous now. Mine doesn't. Like he's got the better version. Yeah. So we traded, uh, dude. Except the condition my Toyota Camry in, I don't think I could sell it for what they think it's worth. I think they're asking for too much on this ad that I pulled up. Uh, by the way,
so
like
one
yeah,
more question. Go ahead.
so I was gonna say Toyota Camry in Philippines is already a luxury car. Yeah, I never been to Philippines, but I've been to Thailand, and like there are a bunch of people that very hard car to get to buy was like Toyota trucks, and they were like huge, like huge there, pretty intense. But go ahead, Alex.
So Gary read this. Can we use code from a tutorial for our own projects?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good question. I was looking
Like,
for that. You go first.
yeah, I go for okay.
Yeah, dude, I feel
So
bad. I talk so
basically,
much. You know?
you can use it, but you don't copy and paste it. And I have a story behind that. I at one point I was trying to get a freelancing project, and they gave me a throwaway project to build, and I built it, and I copy and paste some code from my personal projects that have never seen the light of day. They were in my from my GitHub, and somehow they knew. And the feedback came like, hey, you probably copy and pasted this from somewhere. And I was thinking like, yeah, but I copied and pasted from my projects, and not like I've taken it from a work project or something. It's something that I've built like a model, and just I copied the model just so I won't waste time rebuilding it. I just copied and pasted it. But I probably left some classes that I didn't use, anywhere
Yeah.
else. And like, aha, so you copy and paste it. Like, so what's bad with copying and pasting? Because it's my, if I would rebuild it, I would write it exactly the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's bad. So you can use it, but make sure it's written
My
fresh.
my stance on this, like if you did a tutorial and you have zero projects in your portfolio, you have nothing. You have nothing because you're just starting out. Put that project into your portfolio, but then start working on a project from scratch and once you finish it, you could replace that. So at least that way you don't have an empty portfolio. But there is a chance that you're going to be called out, and also even bigger chance why I don't recommend doing it, even though I just said you can, is because when they start asking you questions about the code, you better know that project like in and out, because if you start stumbling explaining stuff, they're gonna know right away. And that's like why I am a big proponent of building stuff from scratch. The stuff you build from scratch, you will know what that code did, and that's why I much rather have you guys struggling at the beginning building stuff from scratch than copying like tutorial projects. But if you have nothing, like, it's okay to do it. Oh my god, I just realized we're about to be like 2 hours and 43 minutes into the stream. So let's
Nice.
do the last rapid questions. Nice, nice. My voice is gonna die. You're like,
You should drink.
nice.
Hydrate.
I drained
Hydrate.
everything. It's
Hydrate.
empty, empty, empty. I even drank my
Refill.
cat's water.
Refill.
I drank
Refill.
my cat's water. No, 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 no. Yeah, I still got some stuff to do. So let's do some like rapid stuff.
There's a question. There's a question for you. Edward A is asking, Paul, if I remember correctly, you had to move to another state to get a job. Would you do the same thing today? Also, what states would be good for first job hunting? I live in NYC. Is that
Oh
from
my
New
god.
York? Why
Yeah.
would you
So
move from New York? I
it's
would love to
expensive.
live in New York.
It's super expensive. Even if you get like a job in New York that pays, let's say, 6 figures, that's like the bare minimum to like comfortably live in, like, especially if you're closer to Manhattan. So if you're making 80,000, like with all the taxes and everything else, like you're living with a roommate, like in New York. So it's really tough. So like this is what I'd say. Like New York, by the
Sheesh.
way, has a lot of opportunity. Like Boston, I believe, has a lot of opportunity. So I lived in Connecticut, and so I was really close to New York, really close to Boston. So I could have moved to any one of those. But because of exactly the reason that I said, even if I get a job making 80,000, it's like I would still have to live with a roommate in New York or Boston. So I just decided to move to Austin because they have a very huge tech scene. There's no income tax, like state income tax, and the cost of living is not as crazy as uh, New York or Boston. So what I would say is, you know, that's a decision that you kind of have to figure out on your own. But like where I am now, I'm only like looking for remote jobs. Um, and luckily, like the company that I got hired, they're 100% remote, so it doesn't really matter to me. But let's say if I couldn't find a job, I couldn't get a remote job, and let's say there was a city which the tech market was hot and the cost of living was not overpriced, I would definitely move again. I would definitely move. And so for me, that's why I still, right now I'm visiting my family in Connecticut, but I'm going to go back to Texas, because of that. So,
Nice. I definitely need to visit the states. I've never been, and I
yeah.
watch a lot of American movies, and I definitely need to come by. I was thinking of moving to the states at one point, but I think I need a visa, and probably would be difficult to get one. I think you need to be invited or something. I don't know how it works. I'm just
Yeah.
assuming right now.
Yeah, this is the process.
So another, if you were to be invited on Free Code Camp, what would be the title of your episode? Someone's asking.
I
Ellie,
didn't, I didn't
if you
think that,
guys are good,
Eli. I didn't think that far ahead. And why you
I don't think I would be invited to Free Code Camp. I don't have anything to offer to them
I
yet.
mean, like, what I would do, like, I mean, the reason why I don't have an answer is because they have so much awesome content already that, like, I feel like it would have to be something different because they already have good content. I guess, like, if I went on, I would just talk about proper mindset in terms of how to schedule your time to make sure that you set yourself for success in terms of getting hired, because it's one thing to learn to code, but then there's this part of your resume, part of LinkedIn, building relationships, reaching out to recruiters, this whole concept of building your social network on LinkedIn to be able to get opportunities, engaging with a community, going to, even if they're virtual meetups, I would say, and make a talk about why that's still important in today, and the reason why I have the opportunities that I had, and the reason why I got the job that I got was like, you definitely need the skill. You need to know how to code. But the reason why I had those opportunity is because I was in the right circles and I added the right value that they were looking for. And so the door happened to be there. But if I didn't do that, I would have never had the chance to do that. So I think that's what I would talk about on uh, Free Code Camp. But in terms of content, they pretty much have a lot of stuff over there already. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Another amazing YouTuber program I know is the guy who looks like Daniel Cormier. Now I'm not
I
like I want
saw this, but I don't
uh,
know who is.
who's the
I don't know
YouTuber?
who looks like Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us the name because I was really curious about that one. There's a lot of guys that deliver really cool content that probably I should make a list and shout them out at some point
Yeah,
because
yeah, of course.
each one had like a little bit of impact on I don't really say impact, but I've learned something, even if it's like a really small thing. Like I remember there's a channel like Coding with Shaim, I think it's the name of the channel. He has a really good explanation on hoisting, and
Mm,
I looked, I've seen the video, and then I went to an interview and they asked about hosting, and everything I said was basically what I've learned from his video. And actually he was on a live once. I went and like, look dude, like keep going, keep doing your work, because I've used what you've been teaching into an interview, and
nice,
it was a
nice.
really good answer. So
Yeah,
it's
hoisting.
nice to give guys
Yeah,
their props.
the credit. Yeah, the props.
Yeah,
Well deserved. And there's a lot of
yeah,
great
exactly, yeah,
channels,
exactly.
that do that. Akshay says, "Can you tell me some website to look for remote jobs?" To be honest, I just when I search for jobs on LinkedIn, or we're in the States, we're in US, so like Glassdoor, I just say remote only to see what comes up. But it's really hard to
Indeed, I
find.
think there's also.
Indeed has that search, but it's really hard to find remote jobs. So here I am talking about I got a remote job, like whatever. I got lucky. I got lucky that I got the remote job. Like the company that I applied
I
to,
have a remote job as well.
you got lucky too
Like we
because
work remotely, 100%.
they're not easy to come by. So like I definitely understand that.
But I think the pandemic made it, is if the pandemic would have not happened, I probably think that a lot
Yeah,
of
I think now it's
companies would
easier.
have
Yeah,
would
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
adopted that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bang has a good point here. What if you watch a tutorial first, then remade the project without looking at the tutorial and added extra features? By that
The extra
point, I know the
features.
code. That would be fine. And to be honest, if you did that, your code would be so varied that it wouldn't even match the code that was in the project. Because I've done exactly what you talked about. And a lot of times, like I have my own preference of how I write the code, and it would not like be different. And I think that's perfectly fine. And at that point, it's like you're literally building something from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that as well with John's
What I would
project.
say, like
I
to a
I
lot
did
of
him,
like
as a.
folks from like India or other places, sometimes it's very hard to find opportunities. But in your situation, having and trying to build something on, uh, God damn it, now my brain's frozen. What's that freelance site that you mentioned earlier in the podcast
Upwork,
today?
Upwork,
Upwork. Yeah,
Upwork,
go on
Upwork.
Upwork. Upwork. You guys, for US people, Upwork makes no sense because majority of people on Upwork, like they don't make the same money in US that they do at their job. Like I would never go on Upwork because I get paid more money at my job because Upwork is very competitive in one sense and the pricing is different, not because you have to understand people that are on Upwork, there's a lot of people from India, a lot of people from other places where the cost of living is a little bit different. So you're able to charge a little bit different. So for you, you're actually able to find a good middle ground where you're able to make decent amount of money. So I would definitely try to grow your um, uh, bio and your experience on Upwork because that's a really good opportunity. I would still look for jobs in the States and all this other stuff, but for sure, yeah.
I would look at Upwork as a side hustle, like find another project, beside your
Dude,
job.
coding face doesn't look like Danielle Cormier. What are you
I was just
saying
thinking that.
about? Oh my god, I love
Yeah,
coding face, but he doesn't look like Daniel Cormier. Not even from the standpoint of like body, like his face looks nothing like that. Maybe I haven't, maybe Daniel Cormier looks different, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't because I saw that beef he had with one of the Paul brothers. So like I still remember how he looks like. No, Coding Face is a good channel. He's a good dude. I really like I wanna we keep trying to have a live stream together, but he's super busy, always hustling. And I'm like when he calls me, I'm usually at work and I'm like, damn, like we keep missing each other. But yeah, I wanna set something up with Coding Face. I'm I love people that find their own path in terms of like, oh, if the opportunity doesn't exist, let me make my thing. Like, I like the fact that a lot of people have that mindset of being entrepreneurial and being like, yeah, if I can't get hired, I'm going to try to figure out something on my own. And to me, I think there's a value for that type of hustle. But again, with that being said, the hardest thing you could do is become successful freelancing and having your own business. The reason why I much rather work for a company because it's an easier way to and more consistent way to earn an income. But if you have your own business and you're very
yeah,
successful, you could make a lot more money. But that's a trade that you have to make to a point where if your business is not successful, guess what? You're not getting paid. And so I think anybody that does freelancing, it's a very hard thing to do. It's like I've done it in the past, and to me, to anybody who's starting out, I always say, um, get a job first before trying to go freelancing. And the only reason a lot of people go
yeah.
freelancing is because they can't get a job and they're feeling frustrated. So then they're like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to try freelancing. And for some people, that works out. For me, I started both. I was freelancing because I couldn't get a job. But then when I got a job, I stopped freelancing because it's just much nicer to get a stable paycheck. Because when you're freelancing, sometimes people won't pay you, sometimes other things happen. It's very inconsistent. But yeah. So Alex, I just want to say thank you for putting up with me for 3 hours. I really appreciate
Yeah,
you
my pleasure.
coming on the stream
Anytime.
anytime, dude. I'll ask you more. Don't worry. So thank you. A lot of great feedback. And like I said, I like talking, but I like talking to other people that have done the thing that people are trying to do. Like I much rather like talk to someone that's in the process because you're way more relatable because you're doing it. You're right in it. And so the advice you're going to give people is the advice that people
Yeah.
need. I have a friend, he's been working in the industry for like over 30 years. And the advice he gave me when I was first starting out was so detached from reality that I was like, there's no way in hell I could do what you're just telling me to do because we're in two different places. You have 30 years of experience and you think that's everything that you say is just as easy to do as you say it. I'm just a junior dude trying to get his first job. That's not going to fly. And so I much rather have conversations with people that, are in it or just did it or doing it, you know. And for me, like, it's super important because I don't want to talk and say stuff for the sake of saying it. And like my journey was really, really hard. And I want to be honest with people how hard it was. And like your journey was hard. It was a lot of work to get to where you are. And I want people to never be blinded
Yeah.
by the hype and the other stuff you see on YouTube that's very common. And to understand that, like, when people are on YouTube and they say like stuff like, oh, blah, 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 you have to understand that there's so many people on YouTube that out of like a billion people on YouTube, maybe 100 people out of a billion in 3 months learn to code and get that crazy job. but it's such a small statistic that most of our normal people, we never fall into that demographic. We'll never get that job
Yeah.
in 2 3 months making $200,000. It's actually going to be like every average person. It will take a year and a half or a year. It will your first job not going to be that 6 figure job. My first job was 13.75 an hour. Like it was kind of ridiculous, but I had to pay the price, and then it kept getting more and more and more, and then eventually you get there. So. Um,
And now you have Fang status. Bad. Yeah, cool.
and someone says they're Alex, you should make. I'm assuming it's you. You should make a Discord server. So I really like your content, or maybe he's talking to me. So I had a
No, I
Discord
think he's
channel.
talking about you.
I hate Discord. No, I don't hate Discord. I hate the fact that it takes time for me to go on Discord, and I don't have time. So I have a like instead of Discord, I create a private community. Here, I'll like it's if you want to get invited, just send me a link to either your GitHub or an example of the code that you did, and you could email me at codingafter30@gmail.com. And I'm going to say in advance, I try to do my best to answer people's question in that community, but you have to understand it's really difficult. And that's why I like these live streams, because it makes it much easier to me ask questions. But there's the email. If you want to join the community, just send me. Alex, you're on here,
I
right?
remember. I remember. Yeah, I remember when I joined. I was like, man, my GitHub is almost private completely. I was like, how are you gonna prove to Paul
The
that I
fact that you
code a
have a
lot? And
profile, I listen. I don't mind going on
I
your
remember I
GitHub.
print screen. I remember I print
I know,
screen
yeah,
the
yep, yep, you did. But what I'm saying is that I just want to know that you're doing it, because so many people, they'll be like, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want blah blah." Like, okay, not everybody has LinkedIn, but like, you don't have GitHub and you're a developer. That doesn't work.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work, and so that's like the bare minimum requirement to entry. And again, like right now, you have to understand I work like 65 hours a week, and then I have a bunch of other stuff that I do, and so it's very hard for me to respond to everybody. This is why I like the live stream, because it is the easiest way for me to communicate with you guys. So I'm always committed to the Saturday 9 p.m. Eastern time, and then Tuesday coding Eastern time um, live streams, because they're easy to do. And normally, like, I don't go 3 hours, but today we have special guest Alex. Usually I go for like an hour, hour and a half, just because it's so hard nowadays for me to find time. But Alex, you're an amazing person, so like I don't mind,
Thank
and
you.
it
Thank you.
was
You're
so
amazing
fun.
as well.
To be honest, it was so much fun. I didn't realize we talked for 3 hours. I thought we were like hour and a half, and now I'm looking at
Yeah,
it. I'm like, good lord.
yeah.
So with that being said, I just look. If you missed the stream, it was a lot of fun. You could re-listen it, rewatch it if you jumped like halfway through it. Alex had a lot of great tips. You could always watch these streams like anybody would do on YouTube, but 2 times speed when you're like either driving or running or doing laundry. So
Didn't even
that's
get the
fun to
chance to
do.
get into my notes yet, but I'll leave that for another time.
That better be a joke. That better be a joke. That better be a
No,
joke. Better be a joke. Better be a listen.
yeah, man.
I thought when you on Twitter when you said that, I thought you were joking. Next time, okay. Next time, if you have notes, send them to me. Don't even send them to me. Say I have notes and I'd like to start here, because this listen. Otherwise, it'll never
Nah,
happen.
I just went to I went with the flow. I went with the flow.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is how unprofessional I am. Um, but it's
No, it was
hilarious.
fun. It was really really fun. I really enjoyed it.
No, no, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
So part two coming at some point. I'm not sure. Like we'll have to do part two. Part two. We'll go over Alex's notes. Will be part two. Uh, we'll see when that happens. Because he has to not sleep to do this live stream, basically, because it's super early.
I don't sleep anyway, so
I know,
it's
but
okay.
still, you
It's
make me
okay.
feel
I
guilty. I
actually
don't be
sleep.
responsible.
People think that I don't sleep. I actually sleep. I sleep enough. I sleep
You're one of
5
those
hours. That's what
crazy
I need.
people that sleeps 5 hours.
Yeah.
Man, I can't do that. I need like 7, but I sleep 6. So that's like kind of crazy.
That's cool. That's cool. I wake up without some not always, but I wake up without a clock, without how you call it, an alarm. So that's how my body is. I need 5 hours, and that's it. Let me link my YouTube channel.
Oh, you finally started it? What is it?
No,
Let's go. Let's
I don't
go.
have one yet.
What do you
It is there.
Let's
I think, but
go.
I haven't uploaded anything yet. I tried once, and I tried for like 5 times to record a video, and then just get mad. It's like, okay, I'm stopping now, and I'll
Let's
redo
go,
it some other time.
Alex. The
It was just
YouTube channel. Let's do it. Let's do it. I have like 30 YouTube channels. They're all like crazy. So I have a trolling account. It's called like My
You
Stupid
have a
Brain.
trolling account.
I mean, I don't troll people, but I troll myself. It's called My Stupid Brain, but it's me. And so like I'll go to like places like Coding Face or like whatever, and or like Dorian develops, and then somebody will leave a comment, and then I'll randomly put like, "Man, Dorian is so awesome." Not like that coding after 30 guy. I mean, what's wrong with that dude? Just kidding. The kid says, "Why only 8 people here?" Because we've been talking for 3 hours, and even 3 hours is too long for most people. But good to see you here, Kid Lori, joining us. Yeah, if you guys missed the stream, you could always rewatch it. We're actually at the very end here. How did I get 5K subs? I guess I woke up and no. Listen, I had this channel forever, so I'm actually surprised I only have 5K subs. It's kind of crazy. How many subs should
But
I
you
have?
do have a lot of content,
I
like
should have like
100,000 maybe.
how? No, I have like I don't know 130 videos. Not even. I don't know how many videos I
Hey,
have.
look, you have 5K now.
Yeah, I did it.
You
I
passed the
did it.
5K.
I made it. I did it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, Kid Lori. I appreciate it. Like,
Yeah,
I guess some we're doing. People must be enjoying it and liking it. So the guy used to have less than 1K subs. A couple of, dude. But 5 years ago, I used to have like 5 subs, and then like my growth on YouTube actually is not that crazy. Actually, let me look at it. Like, I mean, I'm not a YouTuber. I just happen to talk on YouTube, but I could kind of see if I could pull it up. Uh, it'll be interesting. I don't even know how to do it. Your channel. No.
all right, you get the stats and everything.
Yeah, they'll be interesting.
They show you.
I actually started this YouTube channel so long ago. Let's go down memory lane. Let me go here. Oh, did you respond to My Stupid Brain? That's hilarious. If that's so funny. No, I don't care, dude. To me, like I don't care if what. Uh, Hold on here.
That's funny.
That's so hilarious. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to see. Let's go. Yeah, the kid, the struggle is real. We had like up to like 20 some people watching. No, but it's really hard. YouTube is such a grind, and it's over 3 hours and whatever. No, but to be honest, YouTube is just a lot of work, and it depends on the content. And like I talk about things being difficult and being tough and like whatever. So most people are not into that. They don't
You don't
really
want
want
to
to know.
hear that. Yeah,
They don't want to
exactly.
hear
They
that
don't want
things
to
are
hear that.
they're hard. I made my YouTube made me $44. Damn. Fucking excuse me
Nice.
for swearing. I made $44. That's like enough to buy like one pizza, a bag of bagels, and maybe one Diet Coke. Actually, like people like tell me like
But
go ahead.
do
What were
you
you gonna
get
say?
like $44 monthly, or like $44 like in total?
Well, it depends on the month. Like total, I made like over 4 years of doing YouTube. I made $300 of like 4 or 5 years having YouTube, which is kind of insane. Like if you think about it, like Um, so actually, like I'll see. No, I made more than that. I made, oh my god, uh, since my YouTube channel started 2017, so 5 years ago. I started this YouTube channel 5 years ago. In 5 years of YouTube, I made $488 estimated. So it's not even real. Um, yeah, so like I'll show you quickly the growth of my channel, just so you guys see. If you guys have big hopes uh, for like, oh, I'm gonna make it. Eric, I by the way, thanks for jumping in. We gotta do this, and I keep meaning to reach out to you, and so it partly might fall. And I also had some. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you. Yeah, so I'll. You know my email, codingafter30 at gmail. Send me an email, like yourself, and we'll definitely figure something out. But definitely want to collaborate. Eric, by the way, has a really good channel. Also, very smart kid, and we talked like a while back. I've been meaning to collab for sure. I definitely want to have you on my channel, and so we'll definitely. It's so funny, but we definitely got to do stuff. No, Eric, I did see your email. Weirdly, it ended up in my whatever that folder that all emails go to. That's not your main. What is that? Spam? Like somehow my Google marked it as spam automatically, and I don't know if you tried to like do like a mass mail list or something, but anyway. But yeah, no, I definitely want to do that, Eric. Actually, let me go here for a second. Yeah, no, I'd love to. I would love to. Uh, and by the way, a lot of people ask me like, Paul, how do you decide who do you want to talk to? I want to talk to real developers, and Eric is one of them. So I definitely want to have you on the channel. Uh,
In
I
this
thought
video, I'm gonna walk you
up,
through
up,
5
up,
steps.
up, and I thought I already subscribed. God damn it! But this is Eric's channel right here. Oh, it's because I'm logged in as I subscribe probably as like my stupid brain, my other account. Hold on. So this is Eric, the Eric programming channel. He has really good stuff, and not afraid to say it. Eric is way smarter than I am. And by the way, if you're looking stuff for like interview prep, Eric's channel is definitely better than my channel. So I'm not afraid to say it. So a lot of great videos, a lot of like lead code stuff. So definitely go check out Eric. And Eric, we'll definitely have to hit each other up, and I'll email you. And we'll do that stuff. But yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, congrats. Yeah, thanks. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys like the analytics. Like, look, my channel started in June 2017, and like in 2020, like, I mean, I don't even know how to use this dashboard. But anyway, view by subscribers. I mean, like, I'm not making a dent at all. I had one thing that went kind of viral, but it didn't really help me at all. Um, yeah, I mean, like, it's a grind. Like, I don't do YouTube to make money. I do YouTube to grow this community and be part of the community. And to be honest with you guys, I had a couple of job interviews because people found me from YouTube. And so that's to me more value is from the fact that like I'm becoming discoverable via YouTube by people that and or I become like more recognized that people like, oh yeah, we'll give you an interview. It doesn't mean that I'll get hired. And
Yeah,
Eli says, can we
I'm gonna add probably.
Eli says, can we call for a celebration? Congratulations. Yes, you guys helped me. You did it. You did it. I should be like one of those YouTubers. The fam did it. Oh my God. You guys got 5,000K. Woo! Woo! Yeah, we did it. 5,000K, hard drinks or beer. I have, whatever, I'm not gonna say I do or I don't. I don't know. Viral video, right? No, I'll program a chat box by typing with my nose. That would actually that like really stupid. Never mind. That's gonna go viral for all the wrong reasons probably, and I'll be known like for that dude. That you know. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Alex. I can't you
Thank you,
know
Paul, for having me.
thank anybody enough, dude. Like it's amazing. It makes my job easy. I just talk to you. You know. Uh, No, but I want to say, to be honest, like, look, to me, the most important part is the people that like I relate to and communicate with. I think my camera's here. I'm looking the wrong way. Camera's here, and the most important thing, like, look,
Yeah.
and I know like it's only like 3 people watching, which is hilarious, or I don't know how many watching now, but the point that I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter. The reason why I do this is because I feel like we all live on the same planet. We all already deal with so much negativity in our lives. So my goal is to have a community where
Yeah.
we just have fun, we treat each other with respect, and all we talk about is how can we help each other to improve our lives, even if it's in a little way, to help it be a little bit better. And if you guys get some motivation from watching my channel, or it helps you to feel just a little bit better going to that next interview, or just continuing studying, to me that's well worth it. And to be honest, the reason why I've been able to get to where I'm going is because of you guys, this community keeping hope alive in me and allowing me not quit and give up. And so it literally works both ways. And so I'm just so happy to the fact that there are people that are still interested and just getting our lives better, being positive, not trash talking, not trolling, whatever. And to me, that's such a beautiful thing. So like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. You know what I mean? Really
You
appreciate
should
it.
you should add like Zoom calls in the community, like in the private one, so people can actually get to meet each other.
Yeah, we should.
Like
We're,
organize
we're,
one
work,
so
we're,
you
we're
something.
working on that. And Eric, programming, yeah, we'll definitely speak soon. 5K more to 10K subs. Yep, we're getting there. We're getting there. Um, So yeah, Eric, will be super awesome to have you for sure, for sure. This is 100%. Definitely speak soon. Um, and okay, and so yeah, I think that's it. Like we're done. That game. That's like my voice is definitely like like 3 words away from crashing. So Alex,
Becoming
thank
mute.
you. Yeah, Alex, thank you. Everybody, thank you. I love all of you guys. I am so happy that we have this time to share
Thank
with each other, and you, Alex, and people. And we should like do like a meetup where we all meet. Yeah, on Zoom. I'm gonna try. We're gonna plan that. Do like a
Yeah,
coding 30 meetup on Zoom where people could chat with each other. Because I don't have this. I have Discord, but I'm
yeah,
never
share
on it.
experience and all that.
Yeah, like
I
talk.
I don't really know how to
Or
use it
do
that
maybe
much.
maybe do a Twitter space, maybe because people might be shy about like showing their face. So Twitter space could be a little bit nicer because people could just jump in and chat and meet each other. I think we should do that. Do like coding after 30 Twitter space first to ease people into it because
I
not
don't know
everybody
what that
likes to
is.
do it. Twitter space. Oh, someone put a thumb down because I said Twitter space. Like, you know what? You're right. If you put thumb down because I said Twitter space, I take it back. We're gonna have to change that. We're gonna have to change that. Um, you know,
Where's the
but
thumb down?
thumb down. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
you don't
I
see them anymore.
I see it on mine. On mine, it shows me. But the funny part is like it's fine. Like like I sleep very, very good at night. It's fine to me. Like I like how after I said all that positivity stuff, someone was like thumbs down. That's sad. But what else? What else are you gonna do? But yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys. I'm so happy that you guys here. I hope you guys found value in everything we do. At the end of the day, oh my god, people just love playing with my emotions. They go thumb down, thumb in, thumb back. They try to give me a heart attack on the live stream. But yeah,
Is it the
like
same thumb? Or,
yeah, I probably. I'm like,
or
I
there's
don't really
two
care
thumbs
about
now?
likes. I'm like, I don't really care about the likes. And then every time I get a thumb down, like I have a tear form and I start to cry. I'm just like, people don't love me. I'm not
You
appreciated
need
by
to
the world.
focus on the thumbs up. You have like 28 thumbs up.
To be honest with you, I need to
Did you add
focus on
yours?
my job. I need to. No, 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 no. It's somebody else. No, I need to focus on my job to do the best that I can. But yeah, no. I keep saying goodbye, and these goodbyes take forever. It's like
Yeah,
you
it's
know those
hard to
romance
it's hard
movies
to
where
say
people
goodbye.
can't like hang up. Like like those
Yeah.
romantic movies, like black and white, where they talk for like they say goodbyes for like the whole entire movie, and you're just like, what? Yeah. So we had a good talk, had a lot of fun. We chatted with Alex.
Yes, you did.
Um, yeah, and JRBox says you could turn off the camera and Zoom. Yeah, we should do Zoom. Will be fine. And lol, they're trolling. Yeah, I know it's fine. No big deal. The more it's funny, the bigger the channel gets, the more hate you're gonna get, and that's perfectly fine. Bro, going to add another thumb up from my ghost account. I know. That's what I do. I have so many YouTube channels, and I just go and like. Actually, hold on a second. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? I got this. I got this. I got this. Now, okay. Don't tell. I mean, I already blew the cover, um, on this video. But okay, from now
I
on, if you
can't believe
guys
you
hold
have
on,
a
stop.
trolling
Don't say
account.
anything. Shh, 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 shh. Guys, this is our secret. Don't say anything from now on. I'm not gonna say it, but I will randomly like do stuff like I'm about to do right now. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh no, but it's God damn it! I'm associated with this account. No. And what?
Why is his head so round?
Anyway, so love all of you guys. Have a lot of fun. I can't even say goodbyes. I'm getting teary eyed just saying goodbyes to the viewers. Uh, but look, by the way, like, um, if you were on my YouTube channel, go back just for fun. Like you don't even have to, but watch some like you could go to videos and you could like sort by uh oldest to newest, and you could see where I started. I started like a complete like lunatic. Oh, you could even see how skinny I was. Never mind, it's depressing. It's depressing. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, and I used to be so lazy. I used to do videos in my car. I think that was kind of cool. Um,
If you're
you
learning the
know,
code,
yeah, and I got advertisements on my videos. Oh yeah, and my stupid brain apparently can't spell head. You're right, Northern Chimp.
This is so funny.
All right, I'm gone. I'm going. I'm going. I'm done. I'm done. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much uh, for everything you guys do. And yeah, don't get mad. My stupid brain. I don't know who that is. It's some idiot. Nobody cares. Don't get annoyed with people that. I'm gonna ban that guy. No. Just kidding. Don't ban him. Because it's the same account. Anyway, thank you all for everything. I'm gonna see you guys next stream. We stream Tuesday where we code at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Saturday we talk about soft skills. We have awesome guests like Alex. We'll definitely have Alex back because he created amazing notes that we don't want them to go to waste. And we'll have more guests coming, and so it'll be fantastic. And so with that being said, now for real, signing off, saying good night. I love you guys all, and I'll see you guys next stream. Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
and we'll see everybody
my
later.
pleasure.
Bye
Goodbye,
guys.
everyone.